Greetings, everyone. And welcome to a very special meta-human episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party.
Super!
It's about supery things. And guess what? I'm Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, we got a really great topic. I'm sure it's one of those topics where people at home have kind of played this game themselves. The topic is...
What is the topic?
Dream superhero movies.
Dream superhero movie!
Dream superhero movies.
Now, this is something that you've dreamt about, but also, why haven't they done this?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a literal dream. You didn't have to, during REM sleep that this came to you, but it could be.
Yeah.
Or it could just be something that you thought of like, hey, why don't they make that superhero movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Or it could even be a superhero who they've done movies for,
right.
but they haven't really done them right, maybe.
Right.
Could be that too.
And we don't need a definition of a superhero, because we all know what that is, right?
Like, a meta-human is someone who has unusual powers.
Yes. And it could be someone who has developed themselves a la Batman, the Punisher.
Right.
Right.
And speaking of developing themselves, I understand we have
a fully developed guest.
a return guest.
Oh, man. Friend of the show, friend of me, friend of us. We love this man. Hilarious comic writer, director, producer. He's the best. It's Fred Belford.
Fred Belford! You were with us on our spaceships episode. That was episode 89 of Monster
that was a good
Party.
one.
You were also
Yeah.
with us on the best and worst sci-fi villains. And now we have you for superhero dream movies.
Finally.
Yeah.
You work your way up to it.
Well, I just can't put my finger on what you're into, Fred. I know it has something to do with guys in very tight-fitting clothes.
Hey, let's talk football.
I
don't understand. It does qualify.
No, but I will say this. Does every superhero have to have tight-fitting outfits?
No.
It can be loose.
Yeah, in fact, you don't see that a lot these days, too. In movies, it's not really that kind of look anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people in yoga pants.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just have to be comfortable, and you got to be able to kick.
True.
Yeah. I would just have nothing on. If I was a superhero, I would just be butt naked.
So you'd be nude man. Is that what you'd be? Hi, I'm nude man.
Well, that's kind of my power.
Man,
Because you could stop crime pretty easily. Just show up naked and that would freak people out.
don't you think people they'd stare at you and you go, what? What are you looking at?
And then you take their gun. Done.
Boom.
Thank you, citizens.
Where's the party?
I don't know.
You're looking at me weird because it's such a great idea.
Well, I mean, if that's what your superpower is, you're nude. What is your superpower? You're
I'm nude.
Oh,
I chose to be nude where you didn't.
but Matt, that's
Is
not,
that's your power?
That's it.
That's
Matt,
pretty good. Distracto.
Yeah, distracto.
Just people go like, all right, give us all your, dude, come on. Then the cops move in.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
Yeah. And then depending on the situation, I have my own kind of utility belt where sometimes I'll just have a tie sticking out of my ass.
Nice.
What's the tie? Bah! And then I hit
Bro, you think how do you swing from buildings? How do you swing?
so basically,
We saw you walk
swing.
here.
Why do you think I'm naked?
so
I don't swing from building to building. I just swing.
are you naked man or nude man?
I like distracto myself.
Okay. I like that.
But distracto leaves it kind of open-ended.
Yes.
Yeah, because to me, distracto's not nude. Distracto to me says you distract by any means. Like you could appear, let's say you're wearing a giant red jumpsuit or something, and you appear, and they go, there's distracto, and you go, and then something explodes behind them, and they go, they turn around.
Sure, it could be magic tricks or something.
Yeah, so you don't
or
have
an
to-
M80, as we were discussing.
So you don't have to be nude.
No, but I would be nude a lot. In fact,
that's his power.
What would happen is that criminals would be doing something, and I would show up, and then they would go, I thought he was going to be nude. Thank God he's not nude. But then I could be nude the next time. So you never know what you're going to get.
Would you have like a fleshy
distracting.
colored like Speedo?
Oh, no.
You could have a fleshy colored Speedo.
It
and that
would
way-
work.
No.
You got to see the real thing.
But
You got to see the blue veins. You need like
Okay.
you got to
Okay.
be able
Someone
to.
just got a new superhero name. The Blue Vein.
blue vein.
just look. This is the last question.
You guys, it's time to drain the vein. What? No, time out. We give up. We give up.
Distracto.
All right. This is
Super pigment, be gone.
well. This has been great. But I kind of like to get.
Our show.
Look,
The power to
look, we got
control
to
the
work.
flow of my blood.
We got to work this through.
Okay. So I'd like to kind of get into it and talk
All right.
about
Do you want to start?
No, I was going to have our guest start.
All right.
All right.
me.
So, yeah, Fred. So you know.
Do you want to start?
Oh, I'll do anything.
Okay.
So what's a superhero dream movie that
For me?
Yes.
Well, it's tough because like 99% of what I was thinking of, you check it like in production.
Yeah,
You
there's
know,
so much
like-
in development.
Which is
yeah,
Right
unbelievable.
now in 2019, it's so true. The whole superhero universe is so big and has been so successful. As
profitable.
much as you want to criticize whether it be Superman versus Batman or whatnot, still this is superheroes are big now in 2019. So
biggest.
it's
Right.
But comic books are big. Like Sweet Tooth is happening. I think they might even be doing Paper Girls now. Like it's like everything is happening.
every obscure. But although I would say a lot of those like that kind of like development hell, where like because there's ones that like I've read that have been in production or development for years and years, and you know you have to wait and see. But
I think it just matters what celebrity attaches themselves.
Yes.
true.
And so even if something is in production, let's just say, or it's being developed, we could still,
no.
I think, pitch that.
Yeah,
because
okay.
it would be
I have
our
one of those,
vision.
yeah.
Our vision.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
all right, Fred. Well, what is your vision?
There's a character named Batman. Now here's the thing. He's neither
that's-
man nor bat.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Why don't we? I'll take it down
he
a notch
nude?
for you layman's.
Is he, if he's nude, because bats are nude.
Well, yes, but he's darker skinned, and he's like flappy arm. It's pretty creepy to look at.
And he's hairy. Is he
He's
hairy?
hairy.
Is he
He's
hairy?
hairy.
Wait,
Like Albert
And he's,
Brooks hairy, or
Yeah, it's really gross.
Wait, so you're saying Batman as he's a real bat?
no, that would be Man Bat.
So I'm not sure. I don't follow you. You this Batman.
He's kidding.
what is
He
your-
was
I was doing a bit.
joking.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a funny.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's just
got
cut
it.
all that.
Okay.
Let's cut all that. My first choice. Better. That was a lie. I didn't love anything I said. Okay. Have you guys heard of? There's a writer, Ed Brubaker.
oh yeah,
He's one of my favorite everythings, and
the greatest.
he's so good.
Yes.
He's so good, and he's really good at pulp. Like that's what he's into. Like,
Yeah, Winter Soldier came from
boom.
Brubaker.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
a bunch of stuff.
Really?
He did a lot of stuff for Captain America.
Sleeper.
Yes. He's great. No, Incognito would be the one I'd pitch.
Now I don't know that one.
Incognito.
Tell me.
It's basically about like there's a supervillain whose name Zach Overkill is the main guy.
Okay.
And he's not in tights. He's wearing like just like jeans and a leather jacket, and leather gloves, and like a black Green Lantern kind of mask.
Okay.
It's one of the coolest looking things.
That
Like
looks
when you look
cool.
at, he just looks cool. It's like just if you were to decide like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna look tough. Like I was that for like one Halloween, and you're like, God, I just look good. I want to wear this every day. And he has to turn state's evidence about the main bad guy. And then in order to do that, to put him in like witness protection program, they give him a shot that makes him normal. It takes away his powers. And he's just like super strength. That's kind of his power. Okay. And he's like hates life. He just hates life. He's just walking around like bummed out without powers. Starts doing drugs. And you don't like this guy, or he's like a shitty dude. And then he like starts doing drugs, starts to get his powers back.
And then when he starts doing drugs, he gets likable again, right?
Yes, just like everybody
Yeah.
I've ever known.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
That's bad.
He sounds like a bad person.
Well, it's
what?
well, it's
how
like,
is
it's
someone
her-
on heroin not fun?
See,
But, so this is like a dark anti-hero. kind
Yeah,
of-
and then he gets but meanwhile the bad guys are trying to kill him because he's turning state's evidence, so he's got to it goes against them, and it's just like then it becomes and it's very like written like pulp. It's such a great book. Like it's a great hero book. It's like a oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this word. More realistic Wanted. Which was amazing in itself, but this is more just like low key like
I want them to make that again to make it right.
faithfully.
and really give Halle Berry her
Finally,
some time to shine.
Like go.
every hero movie ever made from 88 through 2014 should be redone. But no, it was like that. If you like Wanted, like this is like more like it's gritty. It's so good. I can't
Kind of
recommend
like
it
more
enough.
like a smaller kind of street level story to it.
Yeah,
Is it
and
more like
and it's only 6 episodes, 6 issues. So like it's a contained story,
Right.
you know,
Good.
like which
Yeah.
is it's not like so it's just good. It's really good. And you find out like later, like I think that he had a brother, and like that guy got killed. Like their powers together, like they powered each other.
Like Wonder
Oh,
Twins.
okay.
Yeah. Like they were stronger together. They shared the strength, so that guy got killed, and it bummed. That's why he's pissed at the main bad guy. But then when he gets his powers back, he's even more strong. So
Okay.
nobody knows that, and he
Nice.
didn't even know that, and like all this kind of crazy shit starts. And he does it. Everything like unravels for the main character as well.
So
That's what's fun.
but it's very adult, is what
Very
you're
adult.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
Very
This
adult.
is not like
Yeah.
this isn't the hey, the new Marvel universe. Say this is like
Yeah.
this is dark.
But Brubaker doesn't really do that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess he's able to apply himself to a Marvel universe. But when I read Sleeper, which was such an original idea of
what's that one?
Sleeper, you've got this character who's like a double agent, and he has infiltrated this evil criminal organization, and he has to do some bad things to maintain his cover. And his power, he's so strong and invulnerable that he can't really feel anything. And so he starts this strange relationship with this other agent of this evil organization. And her thing is she's just a sadist. And so it's the perfect relationship. She just tears him to shreds. And it's the closest he gets to feeling anything.
Wow.
And so in the midst of this relationship and almost being discovered many times by the powers that be, it's really exciting. It has this nice kind of noir quality to it.
Yeah,
And I
everything
think
is noir.
Brubaker is really great at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Cool.
book too.
Sleeper's very similar in tone, but this one's just more him going back to all the bad guys. The payback kind of thing and all that kind of movies.
Right.
It's like kind of feels like that ish.
I love that stuff. Any
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
revenge thing.
Kind of
Yeah.
like kill me, fuck, I'll kill you.
Yeah, I live for that
You
stuff.
like revenge.
I
Stuff.
do.
You're-
No, I love
See,
revenge.
The funny thing is, I thought I would be into the revenge stuff.
I would
more
think so,
than you,
too.
but I'm not as much into it as you are. You are like really into revenge.
The Punisher as a
I
kid.
know.
And that's something. I don't mean to take my turn here,
No. Go ahead.
but and this isn't that original of an idea.
No,
but
Punisher as a kid is a great idea.
Kid Punisher.
Yeah, really.
My homework's late.
I've declared war on teachers.
No, come on. No, that's-
The people that brought you Muppet babies. But I love the Punisher, and the Punisher started in Spider-Man comics,
Right.
and he was kind of a villain, but then
Spectacular 129.
oh, that's very good, very good. Yeah, as a kind of a stooge of the Jackal.
The Jackal.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
during those wonderful Ross Andrew days.
Yeah. And the slicked back hair and like looks like
He almost looks like a Vulcan.
yeah,
then.
a Vulcan or like some bad mob bossy
Yeah.
kind of like
He's creepy, but he's not really fleshed out by this point.
yeah.
And then they start to do these. When they would do the Marvel magazines, like Marvel Premiere,
Right, Spotlight.
Spotlight, right? And they did a bunch of different magazines with the Punisher, these wonderful black and white magazines, and it's where you really got into the origin of Frank Castle, and they really kind of let loose with how violent he would get, and it made me think that's the movie they need to do with the Punisher, because I hate the Punisher TV show. I cannot stand it.
That's what
This touchy-feely Punisher bullshit, it's a disaster.
you don't like emotions.
Not for the Punisher.
You don't think he should have emotions?
Well, they shouldn't be on his sleeve.
But he's like more psychotic. He's more like unhinged, really.
Yeah, and it's all kind of kept. He's wound really tight, and it's
Right.
all kept right under the surface.
But
So you see his emotions, but it's not like he's. God, in the Netflix one, I mean, he's
with Karen Page a lot.
Yeah, and
like-
he's long conversations. He almost cries, I think, in one, and he's telling his life story to Daredevil on a roof, and like, fuck this.
But now you said, I know you love, and so do I, Punisher Warzone.
Is the closest
that's a
they've
great movie.
gotten.
Well, have you read I have two feelings about Captain America. Number one, not
Captain America.
Pardon me. Punisher.
In your world, he
I
is,
just realized,
he
like,
is
how
Captain
fucked up-
America. Isn't
How he just like really like he's so patriotic, just murders everybody. Well, because I was gonna say there's Captain America 241. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't love the Punisher till I saw that cover with him like standing in Captain America's shield with his gun out, and I'm like, how come nobody fucking ever did that before? Pardon my language. Like every villain like had to look at that cover going like, oh,
we shoot them.
stand on the we stand on the shield, yeah, so then I can't get it.
Yeah.
And then we shoot them. Genius! Like
By Marvel Universe.
yeah, and just like and I remember as a kid going, he's just this weird like Punisher's the smartest guy I've ever known.
Shoot Ben Grimm in the eye, right? In the mouth.
It's like, but then I remember that was awesome. But then also, did you read Garth Ennis's run?
Oh, those are wonderful.
That they always find
Those
a way
are
to ruin
great.
that. They go like, oh, this is what Punisher should be, and then they ruin it
For the movie.
for the movies.
The Thomas Jane ones, they kind of start going down that road, like the Garth Ennis road.
with the Russian.
Yeah,
and
but then they just ruin it all.
Yeah.
And so what I think would be great, here's my pitch for the Punisher.
All right, so we're moving on from Brubaker and
No, this is the Punisher
okay,
now.
okay,
The
okay.
Punisher. So you got the Punisher, the story of Frank Castle, you do the origin, you do everything. But you shoot it like it's a 70s Death Wish film.
Oh, that's cool.
Shoot it on film.
Yeah, have that
You
look.
make
yeah.
it kind of gritty. You maybe you get like
Robert Rodriguez.
no, like William Friedkin. Get him to you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
hey, dust off your French Connection chops
Yeah, yeah.
and have a go at this.
Yeah.
And you play it like that. You make it a period piece. You have it
Right,
take place in
right.
the 70s. That could be fun and great.
That's cool.
And that way you're already giving it a license to go over the top when it comes to the violence.
in that one I would think like is it Dog Day Afternoon with the big long
The standoff.
standoff on
Yeah,
the steps?
yeah.
It goes
Oh,
on,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of feel where it just goes on really like the cops should be here right now. There was a Punisher moment. Brubaker wrote this moment to bring it back, where Daredevil goes to jail and Kingpin is in jail, and it's this thing where like, how is he gonna get out of this? And in the end of this Daredevil comic, it cuts to like a paper, somebody reading the paper, and you see it's Frank Castle. And he's like in a real horrible town, and this guy's yelling at this woman, is like a pimp and a hooker type thing, and he folds the paper, walks up to the guy. The guy goes like, "Oh, I don't want to," and he takes him and just breaks his neck. And there's a cop, and he goes, "I just killed a man, officer. Take me to jail." And I just remember like, swooning, like, "Oh, it's gonna get good!" Like, and to me, like that's the
That's it.
Punisher, like
Yes.
just like. Oh, Matt Murdock needs me. Oh,
Yeah, less
like-
words. We don't need your soliloquies.
And I kill to get what I need, and that's kind of what I do.
I have declared war on crime, and that's it.
exactly.
Right.
And then so I agree with you. But I would pitch.
Okay.
Have you ever seen? As far as the '70s
like
one
it.
seems all right. What if it's in space? No. What if?
Yes.
Like, have you ever seen Dredd?
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd, the Dredd movie.
Yeah.
The last one's just Dredd,
Which is the raid.
which is the raid. That's what I was trying to think of.
I know that they didn't actually copy it, but it is pretty.
It's almost
point-
exact.
point-
Really?
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Really?
But I think that's genius. Take an amazing movie, then make one of those people a superhero. It's like, yeah, do
Right,
that. You
right.
know, like,
I loved it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. But the raid, like, whoever, I would make it like a Chinese, like, just a bloodbath kind of movie of like, he gets through it. You know, he's gonna get cut up. Because Punisher's always stabbed and shot and hurt, but it's like, you know, in the movies he's got to stop and like heal him. He's like in the comics, it's just like, keep going.
Yeah, no, he patches himself up. But I just want the Punisher. Like, I don't want.
Yes, yes.
Because in the comic books, they've added side characters. Like, for a while, he had this guy, Microchip, and Microchip was his technical expert, and he drove around in a van, and he would do all the, like, you know, getting into, like, a computer system or
Who they
stuff
put
like
in
that.
the TV show.
Yeah. And they use him in the TV show, and it's even worse than you can even.
Oh, I've seen it. It's
terrible.
I scream like, this is not like a trip.
No, it's horrible. But I don't want Microchip. I just want Frank Castle by himself waging his war on crime. And I just really feel like that 70s vibe.
Yeah, that's
to
really
give it that
cool. I
kind
like
of
that
look
idea.
would be cool. I do love though the martial arts raid field too. That would be
Yeah,
Just
great.
that thing where there's just like a million bullets like in those things, and you're just like, there's no, which is Punisher to me. There's no like,
Yeah.
Punisher isn't like a sure shot. He's like, it's just empty your
No,
cartridge.
it's an onslaught.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, we got that one. Next cartridge. yeah.
And there was a handful of scenes in the TV show where he does a thing like he kills someone. He has like this extra powered gun and a sight where he's able to kill someone in a window that's like hundreds of yards away. And that's kind of cool, but that's not really what I'm looking for in the Punisher. Like John Wick came closest
Yes,
to
but that's what I mean about
like,
like
sheer
a
brute or just sheer drive.
Right.
Just like,
Yeah.
just like
unstoppable force.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way you're going to put this guy down.
And his motivation was, well, you killed the dog that reminded me of, and that's it. You
And
know,
that's
like,
all you
he didn't have
need.
to sit around and cry and be like, I
Right,
miss
right.
my fucking dog.
And that's kind of why the sequels to John Wick don't really work as well.
Don't they kill his dog again?
Because how many? You can't just keep going through his pets. You know, you can't get like, not my wombat,
My gerbils.
my goldfish.
no one kills John Wick's budgie.
Well, Fred, that's a good one. Sleeper. So I like that one. That's
No,
good.
Incognito.
And-
Incognito. You're
And
not even
Punisher.
paying attention.
No.
Like me, my thoughts,
Sleeper's
my
good
thoughts,
too.
my
Sleeper's good, but
thoughts.
I like Incognito better.
Okay.
All right, no, I'm going to check that out.
Well, Sean, what about you?
Oh, it's funny, Matt, that you mentioned how you wanted to do a period piece. And I have an idea too for one. Complete opposite style and mindset. But
Okay.
this is a superhero team, and this team was actually a cartoon. But
Ooh.
I would want this to be done as a live action movie, but have it take place in the 60s.
Great.
And that would be The Impossibles.
That's good. I like
The
that.
Impossibles.
The Impossibles was a Hanna-Barbera series, 1966. and
Oh
it was-
yeah, the super.
Yeah, they were the rock and roll band, the Impossibles, and they were crime fighters. They became the Impossibles as superheroes.
One guy,
That's right,
One guy
yeah.
stretched.
It was Coil Man. He had springs. They had Fluid Man who turned into liquid.
Fluid man who got excited quite a bit.
Yeah, and yeah,
I'm changing right now.
Not again.
and Multi Man, which like he could make multiple versions of himself.
That was
But-
the one that always fascinated
Yeah,
me.
but see, I thought if you did it as a live action movie, it could be like A Hard Day's Night or like The Monkees. You know,
I love that.
Like a comedy,
Yeah.
a superhero comedy, but set in the '60s with like screaming teeny boppers. You know, they're trying to avoid all the screaming fans, and they're superhero. It'd be done obviously comedic and light and silly, but like. I've never seen that before. I think that'd be cool. It's a live action movie.
yeah, there would be a nice opportunity to establish this unique tone that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, totally. 'Cause like I said, like a Beatles or Monkees vibe, but they're also superheroes.
I like that.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah,
I want to see that.
Yeah, and they drove around the Impossible, and they had
Okay, that's
Paul
Which looked
Frees.
great though. Look,
Yeah. Paul Frees did the voice.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
trying to
remember.
remember.
I have those like on 16
Yeah, me
millimeter.
too. They were part of the Frankenstein Jr. and the
Yeah.
Impossibles show. And
Now that's the
they're
show
like-
I want to see done.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
Frankenstein
I'm,
Jr.?
no, I'm kidding.
That's
Really?
too weird.
Really?
No, I
But
don't.
the Impossibles, their war cry was like "Rally ho!"
Rally ho.
That was it.
Wow.
But I just think that'd be kind of cool.
you kind of lost everybody with that one.
We'll fix it.
Get this. They yell rally ho!
Yeah.
No,
I
you
can
did.
see, you're trying to think of something that maybe it'll catch on with the kids, kind of a thing. I actually
They didn't think too long.
But this would be totally nostalgic for like people more our age, you know. It'd be like, you have musical numbers, kind of like in all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons when there's a chase or a fight, you'd be playing music, a song like in Josie and the Pussycats or something, you know. It'd be
They're
cool.
a little bit like an Austin Powers type of treatment.
I was thinking
totally,
that.
a little bit of that
yeah.
too, yeah.
So you see
Retro.
this as kind of like comedic in a
Well,
way?
yeah,
or-
but today with CGI, you could do Coil Man and Fluid Man in funny, crazy ways, but do it like in a realistic world. That's what make it kind
well,
of
why
cool.
would you want to make it funny? Why don't you make
Because
it
it's
like,
it was
the
based on a funny
Impossibles.
thing.
Yeah, it's a comedy. It
was based on a
You can't do that-
comedic
You can't do it
cartoon.
serious.
It's interesting that's how you want to go
you
because
wanna
that could be a funny take too, though. Not a funny one, but like an interesting take is to do it deadly serious.
Right. Well,
yeah.
it's funny because kind of the one that I do see as doing it very serious because I know we've joked about it. We did an episode Superheroes Volume 2 with Cooper Barnes. You guys remember Cooper
Yeah,
Barnes?
sure.
So Cooper Barnes, he plays Captain Man on that Disney show, Henry Danger.
Right,
and
right.
he's like Mr. Comic Book Guy, and he knows everything about all the comic book
I think
characters.
it's a Nickelodeon show.
A Nickelodeon show. So he's
Nice one, Larry.
well, I don't pay attention that much to his show anyway.
I didn't. This guy just yapped and yapped.
Or this one.
But
We're such huge fans. I don't know.
No, I didn't say I was a huge fan, but anyway, he's talking about superheroes and stuff, and he makes reference to Hawkman, and he talks about how funny
right.
Hawkman is, and he actually did this skit that you can actually find on YouTube.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Called-
The costumes are good.
No, yeah, but it was really funny. Called A Toast to Green Lantern. You can find it on YouTube, where he plays Hawkman. And it's like, hey, Green Lantern just got his movie, and there's Superman, and you got Wolverine, and they're all hanging at the bar, and then all of a sudden Hawkman comes in, and everyone goes, Hawkman.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
see-
when's Hawkman going to get his movie?
But you see, and he was poking fun at Hawkman, and it was, oh, this is funny. But I told him, I said, look, Hawkman, when he was created, it was a while ago, in a different time. And I think that if you put a new dress on the guy, you could kind of reinvent him a little bit. He could be really cool. In fact, in the Marvel universe, you have the Falcon.
And you have Angel, too.
Yeah, and these are guys who have like their wing set that they have. It's like really high tech and stuff. You could do the same type of thing with Hawkman. He doesn't have to have the big, mask thing.
What's their
on
planet?
and-
Thanganger?
Thangaria.
Thangaring? Thangaring?
Thangaria.
Thangaria.
All I'm saying.
Thangaria.
Thangaria.
Well, it's funny you say that because he is he's powered by nth metal, which gives him super strength. It gives him the power to fly. It gives him healing abilities.
Yeah, but
And he comes from a warrior race, depending on which incarnation you're going with.
But the big joke was his wings. It's like, well, what? So you just take off your wings like a regular hawk would? And it's like, no. I just think that if you developed them a little bit, and I told him, I said, look, if you look at classic Batman from 1960s with Adam West, where Batman was had a little pudge or whatever, and now look at Batman today with his armor and stuff. So I think you could do the same type of thing with Hawkman, and I think that could be really cool.
Well, they developed Aquaman for contemporary audiences, so why not Hawkman?
Yeah.
Well,
Is that your pitch, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hawkman is in the new Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of
Well,
Tomorrow,
it's
yes.
funny because as I was doing my research, there were a bunch of things that I remember as a kid and things that I wrote down, and then I realized as I started to do some research that, oh my gosh, it's like what we were saying at the beginning. That's in development now? I didn't know. And there's things that are coming out which. Okay, I get it. So maybe I'm kind of late to the party. I'm just saying that Hawkman, I thought, could be a cool little offshoot. I could be a really cool movie, I thought.
One of the things about Hawkman that I always find, that they just do it real quick. They're like, let's get rid of this stuff. It's the most non-interesting stuff. Get wings on them, and then we go.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like the mystery of his past lives, and he's an archaeologist.
Yeah.
It could be just I would pitch it like Indiana Jones, who instead of a whip, he can put on he has a.
Well,
But isn't that like a Earth 1 or Golden Age?
because there's multiple stories of
Hawkman, because
Yeah.
there's the Hawkman from the planet,
Yeah.
And then there's
Thanagaria.
Thanagaria, which is the contemporary one.
Yeah. But then there's the one I
Justice
think you're
Society
talking
one?
about where it's the past lives, right? And it's
that's this one.
or that's this one too?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I get it that there are multiple stories of the origin story of Hawkman, and I get it. I'm just saying that I think the character is kind of cool, and I think the power to fly. How neat is that? So when we did our first superheroes thing with your buddy Derek Robertson,
Yes.
Mr. Comic Book Guy, Mr. The Boys,
His name is Mr. Roberts.
Robertson, and he was saying, if you guys
Son of
remember,
Robert.
no, if you guys remember, he said there are no bad superheroes. It's bad writers, bad comic artists who can't develop it or show off the powers in an amazing way. I'm just saying that I think Hawkman deserves his chance. I think if we had an updated Hawkman, I think it'd be really cool.
Okay. No,
All right,
look,
you've
here's the
greenlit
thing.
it.
I generally I root for every superhero movie. I root for everything. I
want-
want it to be great. I want
Yeah.
everything to be, and so when people I'm usually super hypercritical of movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'll say it, not great. I know we're gonna get phone calls, but Hawkman, I think he's great. The thing is, he's a master of so many different weaponry. He's not like a martial arts guy, but he's a weapons master.
Yeah.
And he has what I think is always stupid. The only thing that's really stupid is he has a museum with everything in it. It's like I keep everything here and then it's right out in the open. And it's always broken into. Like there's always someone broke in and stole the thing of this. You know, maybe not keep them out in the open.
Do the old maybe the John Wick thing where you keep it in cement.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like,
But you see,
break your floor.
But you see, I understand. There are people who collect weapons and stuff. So I mean, that makes sense.
But you can do it like you could do it with things like the Spear of Longinus. You know, like he's getting all of that. You can make it like very Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And is this because I'm not as familiar with that character? But are the wings manufactured then? Are they,
They're manufactured.
So
they're not part of it
in
now.
all the incarnations. It's just
all the incarnations.
So it's like the Falcon in the Marvel.
Exactly.
It's a suit. It's a.
They're wings.
Yeah, they're
like
wings.
Not like Falcon where it's like robotic wings. They're like bird wings that he can
Could
control.
anybody put those wings on?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, anyone can put them on. But the reason they work is because the nth metal, his relationship to the nth metal. That's in
Okay,
his
but
blood.
clear this up for me because I remember that there was a Golden Age one that was different, right?
Yes.
That
He just
was-
wore like a mask.
But the first one had the bird mask, and then he went to the mask, the regular kind of yellow mask. I'm pretty
You mean
sure.
the bird mask?
The bird mask was first. Then he went to the other mask.
Yeah. It was like it rested on top of his head.
Yes.
Yeah. Then they were
And
like,
was that a supernatural character, or was that also an alien?
I don't know. Back then, everyone just sort of was.
And that's the thing that
in the
annoys me.
JSA.
That's why I can't do.
he
DC.
drinks an elixir.
Yeah, right.
right.
That's why I can't do DC anymore because they've restarted the universe so many times. I don't know where the fuck I am anymore.
Right.
But I will say the best thing about DC is they've restarted it so many times that you can now like pick pieces of every single time and go like, well, do that. Like if they just get like every once in a while they'll find someone who can go like, let's take that, thread that and make it work. Like 52, I didn't think was great, but they pulled some good stuff from it.
I like some of 52.
They pulled some good stuff, but overall you're just like
all the question stuff.
Yeah,
that was great. Which, by the way, that's another character.
That's
that
a
should be
character
done.
I've read about. Yeah.
again should be done like Brubaker, like a mystery. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Wasn't the question the impetus for Rorschach?
That's right.
Yes.
Right.
And also in the animated series, he is voiced by Jeffrey Combs,
Friend of the show.
friend of the show.
The animated version, he's great.
He is great.
He's great.
Yeah, that's probably the best incarnation.
They make him like just a no-faced Batman.
Yeah.
All right. So I said Hawkman. So James, what about
What do you got, James?
One of my favorite comic characters was always Elektra, and I was really disappointed by the casting of Jennifer Garner in the movies.
You didn't like her?
I didn't picture her as that character, and I wasn't crazy about the costume. And
I'm sorry, I have to leave. I can't do this.
really, you disagree?
Jennifer Garner's one of the greatest actresses. I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry to step on it. Go. I apologize.
Nothing against Jennifer Garner. She just wasn't Elektra to me. And one of my favorite series from the 80s was Elektra Assassin, which is written
Good
by...
times.
Yeah. Frank Miller in his prime, right after Dark Knight Returns, and illustrated by Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh, Bill Sienkiewicz.
All watercolor, beautifully illustrated. And I wouldn't have thought that this could have been adapted, and I still don't think it'd be adapted well as live action, but after seeing Spider-Man back in the
Spider-Verse, yeah.
Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
there were moments, and Matt and I were talking about this earlier, that evoked the art of Bill Sienkiewicz in there. And
The design of Kingpin is
yes. Yeah.
total Sienkiewicz.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if it were done by that team, even on a more limited budget, that story could be really well adapted, I think, in that way. It's a fun story. It's really dark.
Yeah.
Because she's up against this almost Satanistic villain called the Beast. It's almost like out of Revelation.
Who runs the hand? Right? He's like
Yes.
powers
Yeah.
the hand.
Yeah. And she also has to fight agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she's ruthless. I mean, she'll assassinate them. And there's also this cybernetic element to it where they turn impaired or partially dead people into cyborgs. So there's that. And it's a lot of fun. It's really, really dark. And the villains are so evil that you really, really root for Elektra in this. I love it. And I would go for that as my dream adaptation.
And you hit on something with doing that story, which kind of sparked something in my mind, which is that I would like to see more of the classic stories done the way that they were written. I would love to see a Dark Knight Returns. I'd love to see a Daredevil Born Again pretty much beat for beat that story. I'd love to see that. That works so well. And when they do it, when they've kind of adapted those stories for the Marvel universe, it's been pretty successful.
Well, they're doing it in animation. I mean, DC did a pretty good, faithful Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, they did.
They
Yeah,
do
that's
some
true.
pretty
That's
good.
true.
They-
Yeah, they did.
And this is where DC might have Marvel beat in the animated feature category because
Yeah.
they're doing some
Yeah.
good stuff there.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
They do so many DC movies that like if you like just half of them, you like
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
dozen. You know?
Dark Avengers was pretty fun. Not Dark Avengers. Yeah, no. Dark Justice. What's the one that they had? Constantine.
Dark League Justice Dark League.
Justice League Dark. Is
Justice
that
League
what it
Dark.
was? There we go. Hey, it only took 900 tries.
You're on the board, man.
Yay! But I love that one that had John Constantine and
Yeah.
Dr. Fate and everybody else. I also think that the supernatural characters in both universes, Marvel and DC, are underused or not used well. The fact that they made Doctor Strange into this quipping, hilarious guy, I'm not so crazy about that.
Wait a minute. He's not a big quipper.
Yes, he is.
No,
It's just a little strange. What the?
His comments to me seem totally logical. You know, when they do the whole thing about when he says, that's Strange. Oh, Doctor Strange. I mean, that's his name. I mean, that's not a funny gag. There was more.
I do like him. I do like
there was-
Cumberbatch as him. I just think, again, I'm a broken record, but I
Yes,
just less humor, please. Please, less humor.
I'm gonna agree with you about like in Thor Ragnarok. It seemed like everyone had quips. Everyone.
I was okay with Thor Ragnarok.
Hey, I liked it, but Matt and I we had this.
You hated it?
conversation. No,
I didn't hate it, but too much funny.
Okay.
Too much hitting me on the head with the jokes. I don't need that much.
Let's ignore me.
I get that, and I'm not going to argue that, but
I still liked it though.
the jokes were funny and the action was good. and they
Funnier
didn't-
way better than Infinity War when it came to the placement of jokes.
I don't
Infinity
remember
War,
jokes
the
and
first
split.
third of that movie is one hilarious comedy bit after another till I wanted to gouge my eyes out.
What in Infinity Wars?
Yes.
I don't know if it was like knee
And the
slapping
Doctor
fun-
Strange stuff was all quippy too. I didn't know.
No,
It
no,
was
yeah.
unnecessary. You don't need to do that. Tell me a story. Pick your moments. Not everybody can be the hilarious quipster in the Marvel universe.
I agree with you, but I think Doctor Strange, it's supposed to work because everything is so serious. The world is like he's supposed to be the the fish out of water.
And he's a smart
but
guy.
In the
That's
actual
fine.
comic
He's
book,
like
he's
a-
the opposite. He's like totally into it
Yes.
and like wants to learn and wants to,
but pick your moments. That's my thing. Is it doesn't have to be peppered throughout the film.
Also, don't cast Tilda Swinton or whatever her name is as the main
well, that's,
Asian.
that's probably yeah.
You know, the funny thing
master
is,
of-
Yeah, there are
arts.
some Asians I think that could probably use some work. Maybe.
I mean,
She was like, hey, I got like 2 days off if you guys want. Oh, yeah.
I have a bald cap. Okay, come here.
no, I'm moving on.
Now back to Elektra Assassin.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like one thing, there's that image of all the arrows a bunch of times. I think it would work with live action if you did it like all Frank Miller stuff, Sin City.
Like the Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like that where you can cut to some sort of animation, like
like combine the.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and like or even somewhat 300, and then or not a good
Not like 300.
No,
I like 300.
no.
It's a,
But 300 did the thing where they cut to like billions of weapons. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they just like cut to the concept of like then person in shot by billions of weapons. You know, like I mean that's kind of what because there's even like there's covers of her where she's like covered. She's
Right.
arrows all around her, arrows in her, and it's just jumping, and you're going like.
I would love to see that experiment where you take maybe some of the animated style of Spider-Verse and you incorporate that within a live action movie.
Like almost
And-
like Kill Bill.
Yeah, and make something
Right.
new and unusual.
Although one thing that Spider-Verse really proved is that you could make a really effective contemporary superhero theatrical film that's just as effective, if not more so, than a live action or CGI.
I agree.
Yes,
I really
absolutely.
agree.
And they did stuff with animation that we just haven't seen before. Just the look and style
Yeah.
of it, and also really successful at taking the idea of a comic book, the way they would show the panels
Right.
with the dialogue and the sound effects, and they just did it. But also combined with like anime style. Like I mean,
Sure.
they did everything. It just
And blending the humor in a way that didn't smack you across the face.
Yeah, but I think they
that
have
was
a
a joke fest USA though.
They
But
have a little
it's
more
Spider-Man, so you let it go.
But they have a little more
it had
leeway,
it
though.
had its moments.
But just being animated, you have a little more leeway, I think.
Well, and also, yes, you're right that Peter Parker is a quipster. But from the very start, that was part of his character.
right.
Well, James, I like that. Elektra. Well, just the Jennifer Garner. How long ago was that, by the way?
Oh my God, what year
that
was
like-
that? It was like 12 years ago.
So actually,
That was 2005.
It probably is a good time to maybe reboot that, because I think with the proper director, the proper writer, and the proper actress, that could be really great.
I love that character.
Proper caterer.
She was born Greek, and yet she was adopted the ways of the Japanese. So
Because wasn't her dad like mafia and like he gets killed? and something like
Yeah, I think it was, or maybe it had to do with an ambassador to Greece or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Have you watched the Daredevil show?
No,
With,
I've
that
not.
Elektra?
No.
Oh, that'll make you want to kill yourself.
Really? Yeah. Again,
Really?
I'm like, what is this?
Why?
What is happening?
What do they
Like,
What do they
yeah.
do wrong with it?
It's just the most annoying character.
Really?
She shoots lasers out of her eyes. Number one, which is
Yeah.
weird.
What? Are you serious? No.
She has wings. Big wings.
And I'm like, stolen.
Well, Matt, we're now in your corner now.
This is a comic that I kind of stumbled upon as a kid, and I really loved it. It only lasted 12 issues, but since its day, it's kind of become a kind of a cult classic in certain circles. And the book is Omega the Unknown. Fred,
don't
are
know
you
this.
familiar with this one? It's a Steve Gerber book, and Omega the Unknown, only 12 issues, but it told the story of this guy whose name was James Michael Starling. And he has this strange connection with this outer space character called Omega the Unknown. And the book starts with Omega. He's on another planet and he's escaping these robotic, cybernetic creatures. And at the same time, there's something going on Earth with this kid, James Michael Starling, and his parents are taking him to New York. And all of a sudden, the car is driven off the road. His parents are killed, and he finds out that his parents are androids. He wakes up in a hospital, and the alien androids attack the hospital. Omega shows up to defend James Michael, but it's James Michael who ends up saving everybody by using energy blasts from his hands, the same kind that Omega uses. And eventually he gets kind of adopted by these two women, and they live in Hell's Kitchen in New York. And what takes place in the book, you get this nice little snapshot of the streets, and there's a lot of stuff dealing with race and poverty and bullying. And at the same time, it would kind of cross-connect with the superhero story of Omega, who, when he wasn't dealing with these cybernetic aliens that were after him, he was also fighting the Hulk and kind of lower-tier Marvel villains. But he had this strange connection with James Michael. The whole storyline, you're trying to figure out what is the connection with these two characters. Now, the issues end kind of abruptly.
Right.
But they tried to wrap it up in, I think, a later Defenders issue. And it was done by a different writer, and it was really unsatisfying and kind of a downbeat ending. But I guess there was a
2007.
They did a relaunch. And who was the guy who did the relaunch?
Jonathan Lethem.
Yeah, which I hear is really good.
He's good. He did. He wrote Fortress of Solitude, which everybody loves.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah. But it's nice because you've got a mixture of gritty New York street social commentary with this outer space alien drama, and the way that they balance both stories in the comic books, I thought they did a really great job, and I'd love to see a talented filmmaker take that and bring that to life. And that's one that is, again, if you can do Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody had cared or heard of them
Right.
before that film.
No.
You can do it with Omega the Unknown. I'm sure there's so many more of these type of characters too that
It's funny you should say that. I've never heard of this one, Matt.
yeah, it's great.
obscure.
And you can find them all collected, and they also include the Defenders wrap up, which is interesting. And I guess when it comes to the Marvel Universe, that is considered the canon ending, but it was not by Steve Gerber, and apparently he wasn't too thrilled with the way that it ended. Yeah, I would love to see, and I'm glad that somebody else took another crack at it because I haven't read it, but I would love to see what that version is like.
The covers are pretty. I just looked at the covers. They're all right.
But it was the thing that was great. It was just a really kind of offbeat book. It seemed like it was very different from most of the comics that I was reading at that time, and that's why I'm sure it was canceled.
Right.
I like a good cover. Good cover.
It makes all the difference.
So that's my obscure one.
I've seen it, but I've never read it.
Omega the Unknown.
Omega the Unknown, yeah.
All right. Interesting.
I'm in.
All right, Fred.
I like it.
You got another one for us?
I got. How many do you want?
Keep them coming, man.
This is one that. Gosh, there's so many. I don't even want to talk about it because I always pretended that one day I'd be able to do this, but let's be honest.
It's not over yet.
It's a Dark Horse comic called The Nevermen.
Oh, I don't know this.
I don't know.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh my gosh.
The Nevermen?
Oh, it's so good.
Are they like Neverland? Like
It's basically it's like guys in like overcoats and like I think they had masks, but
Okay.
just like face mask and like a fedora. You know,
Right.
and they all look the same.
Okay.
And they're basically the crimes they solve are like the supervillain types. And it's like we were never here, this never happened kind of a thing. So
So
nobody
like
doesn't exist.
the Men in Black kind of thing.
Kind of feel
for superheroes.
Yes, and
That's
it was
a cool
so.
idea.
But yet they also have all this high tech stuff like under their suits. So like it's like not Batman, but there's sort of like the gadgetry that they have. And
That's
stuff like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
And like it's the first time I ever saw like it was designed by Guy Davis. He did a lot of the stuff. So like you get,
Right.
like a lot of characters, like one guy has like a squid face, is one of the bad guys with like a Moroccan mole hat, and and like all these kids. But there's a guy in it that's like the Punisher called the Murderist. Who's like who's the thing where he wears a giant overcoat and he's in this amazing like giant like robot kind of suit with the arms really long. And it's like same thing where like, hey, I didn't mean to. Too late, the murderess. And he just murders. And then you find out he used to be one of the Nevermen, and then he was wounded and he went a little crazy. But I just thought as soon as I got to that, I was like, that's the greatest name I've ever.
That's the movie I want to see. The Murderess.
It's against Punisher.
I'm not familiar with this. This is wild.
And they fight a group called the League of Crows, or like the bad guys or something like that. But everything about it is so good, and it was just like it's really fun. It was like I think it was only like 4 issues too, or 6 issues, but it was it's like high tech, but yet it was also done like sort of like a 60s style like look. And the story takes place like one of the guys is missing, so they need a new Neverman, and they like hire this guy who's like just who's really good like FBI or CIA guy, and he's like, oh wait, what? He's like, sure, I'll do this. And like, never hear. No, he's like, his whole thing, like half of him is going like, hey guys, what the fuck is happening? And so like, it's that young ingenue kind of, not ingenue.
So it's called Neverman, not the Neverman.
The Nevermen.
It is called the Nevermen.
Yeah, one word.
Nevermen. Many men.
Yes.
Man. That sounds cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was really good. I can't recommend it enough.
Nice one, Fred.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Sheridan.
Okay, this is a little kind of another kooky one, but I remember seeing a comic of this when I was a kid. I thought it was just so cool. This is a pretty obscure superhero from the 60s called Ultra the Multi-Alien.
Oh yeah.
Do you know him?
Oh yeah.
I think he debuted in Mystery in Space in 1965. It was it's kind of the crazy idea that as a kid you think is so cool. He's this Earth spaceman named Ace Arn, and he was exploring this planet or something, and he crash lands on this planet, and he's attacked by 4 different aliens from 4 different planets.
What are the odds?
Yeah, exactly. And they all have ray guns. And
Anyone who's ever been to space.
Ace.
Pity.
Yeah, they give them out in space.
Each of their ray guns are designed to transform him into an obedient member of their respective species.
Okay.
And they shoot him 4 of them shoot him at the exact same moment.
In the dick. In the dick.
But because
Then he had to change his name to Ridiculous.
ultra ridiculous. So what happens is, but because all rays hit him at the same time, he transforms into a combination of all 4 aliens.
This is the luckiest guy in the universe.
So like the upper right torso, his upper right torso is green and he has super strength. His
you're
left,
right.
his left,
It gets better.
His left torso is blue and he has magnetic powers.
Oh, no.
His right leg has feathers and has small wings and lets him fly. And his
Submariner
left
style.
his left leg is like a lightning bolt.
Just a lightning bolt.
So he's like a four. So he's
limp
four,
or no limp?
Fly.
So
Always fly.
He's 4 different super beings in one. I thought, well, that's awesome.
None of them faithful to his wife.
When I,
So I just thought that would
what do you
be,
think,
like,
honey? You want to go
really
blue tonight?
Yeah,
Or you getting lightning leg?
Little lightning foot.
So I just thought that was pretty hilarious. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I
to do.
love
But,
it.
dude. As a live action movie, apparently, I guess he made an appearance in Batman: The Brave and the Bold, an animated series, which I didn't know.
I have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was in the '60s, but I think they brought him back a couple times, maybe slightly changed his origin. But this is like his debut was back in the '60s, and it seems like a typical kind of '60s outlandish kind of superhero. You know, alien. These like 4 parts. I thought it was really cool. I think it'd be a cool movie.
Cool. But it's a little, what's his name? I want to call him Mephisto.
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho.
Oh, okay. Because same kind of ability. He can take on the powers of others.
Chunks of different things,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's all elements. But I remember when I was a kid, there used to be a show. It's just how lame my childhood was, where you would like literally like race home to get like, oh shit, it's 3 o'clock, and you run home. It was like even at like 2:35, at some weird time, because it was a thing where if you missed it, because it was like it was public access when it was public access.
Sure.
And it was just a show where a guy would just. The camera would just be on the panel, and he'd read the thing like a
Really?
It was
Of the
like
comic books?
The
Or
comic
just-
book. So it was like a rough animation kind of feel to
Oh,
it.
wow.
And that was one of the ones.
Ultra and the multi-alien?
Yeah, yeah. And they read, and we're like,
awesome.
but I remember we're like, you as a kid, you're like you got to figure like 9 years old, going like, what the like what? It like changed everything, like we'd only fed on like Hulk and Iron Man. Suddenly it's like,
just
what is happening?
Yeah. It's like blew your mind as a
Right? It was
9-year-old
like,
kid.
a lightning leg? What the what?
Yeah.
And like we would play like I tried to make an action figure of him. Like it was like
But see, today you can actually.
Is that how you blew off your hand?
and got electrocuted and developed the power of magnetism.
But like today, you could do that in like with realistic effects. Like you could actually probably pull it off. Like I mean, the things they can do with
Or not.
But it could be interesting though. I mean,
No, I would
It'd be
I would
interesting, but
love
he
to
would,
see that.
He would have
Yeah.
to turn back to normal for anybody to be like, okay,
that's true.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool if they made like an action figure though, like that. Because
Made with real lightning.
yeah, but that'd be cool as an action figure.
Yeah.
Somebody should make that.
Yeah.
All right.
Dear
I'll get
DC.
to it.
They just, DC's making everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
So
I
there
like
you
that,
go.
Sean.
All right, Stroth.
Cool.
Okay, now
What do you got?
Well, who amongst us? We all love bodybuilders, don't we?
Wow.
What the hell?
Did not see that coming.
segue is that?
Did not see that coming at all.
Well, let's think about this.
First of
All
all,
right, let me think about it.
all of us are shirtless, so that's why he's saying that.
in the Marvel.
And why do you
universe-
resist
in the Marvel universe?
Distracto?
You know what I would love to see in live
Okay.
action?
All right.
So we've got the Hulk, but what about the She-Hulk?
Oh.
Now,
Yeah.
and I would love to see.
I'd like to see that, too.
And I was thinking, boy, who would be the perfect She-Hulk? I was
Who?
trying to.
Who do you got?
Well, originally I thought China would have been. No,
maybe back
guys,
in the day,
No.
maybe.
See, you guys are giving.
No,
me funny
I understand.
faces,
No, I
but
understand why you're going with that. I get it.
And so I was thinking, maybe, that's who I wrote down. That's who I wrote down. But I thought to myself, the great thing about the She-Hulk, the difference, I guess, when Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk, although it seems like he's changing, he's evolving. It's like he would lose sight of who he is when he becomes the Hulk.
Become a savage, almost
but
animal-like.
She-Hulk, not so much.
Right. She just become a lawyer.
What is her origin story? How did she become the
Because
Hulk?
she gets a blood transfusion. Bruce Banner,
her cousin.
There were 4 ray guns.
but she,
In the dick!
Okay, come on now.
It wasn't there before the ray guns.
Let's-
Lose it,
let's-
take it off!
All right, let's bring this up a little bit, okay? But I'm just saying that
In
if
the boobs.
She, let's just say that she had a blood transfusion from her cousin. And,
Right.
Let's just say, or is that...
That's
Nudge.
That's the scoop.
Say
and
no
so she's
more.
an attorney. She's an attorney, and so
Okay.
now she becomes the She-Hulk, but she never loses the passion for justice.
But she still has her mind.
Yes.
Yes, she has her marbles.
But she
Yeah.
gets big. big and muscular and strong.
Now, did they do it? Was there an animated cartoon?
There was, but
Well,
I
they're
wanna
working on one right now. They're trying to make it.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
but
but
wasn't
I-
it kind of more tongue in cheek?
I think so, but
Yeah.
but I want to see a live action thing. Come on, in this day and age of Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, let's bring in the She-Hulk.
Now, who do you see?
Yeah, who do you
playing
see now?
I was thinking about Ronda Rousey, the
Oh, yeah.
bodybuilder,
Yeah.
Ultimate Fighter gal.
WWE.
Yeah.
But then I did a little research and I was looking around at a lot of these female bodybuilders, and there are many, and they may not have like names that you would recognize. But I thought to myself, God, it'd be really cool to get someone like that. But if you went that route, that means we're kind of doing Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno. So maybe what we need is
You
like
need
is
an
CGI
actress, a real actor.
and then enhanced by CGI.
Right.
Right. I think that's the way to go.
I think the first person they would go to is that girl from. She played that failed Wonder Woman pilot. She's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She plays Mockingbird. She was in the football TV show. I don't know her by name, but she's everybody's like tall girl superhero choice.
I say you go against type
I'm
and
at-
get someone
really
who can.
short.
Yeah.
I'm
Really
not sure
short?
that's
Yeah.
Like a tiny person.
no.
I'm so mad. Whoa.
No, Fred. It's because if she's
Christina Ricci.
maybe she would be good. The point is that she would be enhanced by CGI, much like
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't need to be that
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
And so in fairness,
Or she could ride someone's shoulders.
No,
She
but
could do
I just
that.
think it would be so cool to see that scene where she's like busting out,
Adrian
Of course you
Palicki.
would.
I'm just thinking
Yeah,
that would
right?
be cool. Am I the only
Adrian
one here?
Palicki, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, I would see
that's who I would see.
I would
Yeah,
like to see.
that's
I
not
mean,
bad.
I'm not
From Orville.
Yes,
She's also in John Wick.
So I think that would be great. I'd love to see She-Hulk in a live-action film.
I would like to see that too. I think that would
I
be
think that'd
great.
be cool.
And it's funny when you brought this one up. I really got into that casting place. It has to be.
yeah.
It can't just be someone that's a bodybuilder. I think it has to be a real person acting, and then it'd be nice to mix superhero and lawyer, so you get a little bit of that, crusading and justice for all kind of thing going.
And
on.
also,
What story do you see for it? Because I have so many opinions about this. I just want to hear.
Do you?
You have millions.
I just thought it would be great to see her on the big screen. I don't have a particular one in mind.
Go, Fred.
The things that I like that they're doing now with her, because like she's there. First of all, right now in the Avengers, she is like the savage She-Hulk. She is like the Hulk now. Like
Yeah.
she gets crazy because you got to go. Like it's just Marvel just sort of whoever's writing it ran out of ideas. But the thing that I like that they were doing with her before, because they did a whole thing where she's just a lawyer for the most part,
Right.
And then what was great about that series is she represented like Doctor Doom's son. And like she's like, well, if you've ever
Really?
fought, like she's like she has the inside track. I'm like, I've done that. That doesn't happen, like, and so like she's got a different point of view, but she's also in this very reserved world. So it's like she's got to constantly not get angry.
Yes.
She can't be strong.
Yes, no,
Right,
I'm with you
right,
there.
right.
But she's always sleeping with like she'll sleep with like Thor. She sleeps with like powerful men and like
Really?
drinks a lot and stuff like that. But they sort of delve into the psyche of she's afraid to be Jennifer Walters because she's a nobody when she's Jennifer Walters. Like she's always scared to just be. So at one point she takes a case as just her normal character, and it's like a big thing for her. Like she has to overcome not being. She-Hulk becomes her. I don't want to say drug, but she hides behind. Her alter ego is what she hides behind. It's like you're Jennifer Walters who becomes a She-Hulk,
Right.
but she's always the She-Hulk, and like, oh yeah, I just never do Jennifer Walters. She never goes back. And she likes the lifestyle of like, I drink like crazy, I sleep around, I'm like party dude. And I think like there's almost like a wacky comedy about this girl who's just afraid to be herself in a weird way. Like you're the strongest woman in the world and you can do anything. At the same time, it's just the one thing you don't want to be is yourself.
See, I don't see, because I think over a comic book you do a series of issues. Maybe that can be 6 or 12 issues. I mean, for a feature film, I think you have to be a little bit more compact. I would say maybe she would have those issues, but I think ultimately it's passion for justice, and that the cool thing is when she does become the She-Hulk, she does have her mental capacity. She is able to know the difference between what right and wrong,
Right.
and I really like that. Also, I think she'd be hot, in that big green.
That's what I liked about the comic book of Planet Hulk, because with Ragnarok, again, you got the dopey comedy, which some of it I liked, but some of it I didn't. In Planet Hulk, you've got the Hulk who, it's kind of a similar thing where he doesn't go back to being Bruce Banner, and he's able to control it. In other Hulk comics, you've got Hulk smash, and he's kind of just this raging brute, whereas the minute he lands on that planet where he ends up taking it over and becoming its king, he finally has this environment that allows his intellect to grow and his leadership ability. And that I thought was really interesting. And what I also loved in that comic was there's a moment where he has a wife now. And there's this real sweet moment where they're going to make sweet love. And he's like, hey, I got something I got to tell you. And what he has to tell is that, hey, there's this guy, Bruce Banner, that's in me. And Bruce Banner comes out and basically says hi and then goes back inside. And I just love that. I thought that was such a unique thing. And it's like, no, on Planet Hulk, Banner's way better off inside.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
Okay.
They've done Smart Hulk before, which I think is going to be in the new Avengers.
I didn't like that.
Which I didn't like it.
No.
When he's on Planet Hulk and he's basically the Smart Hulk, he's on a savage world of war.
Right.
And he doesn't have to hold back.
Right.
That's what makes that, to me, like...
And I agree with you. So you're not
never
pushing
has to hold
back.
back. He never has to hold back mentally, ever.
No,
he's a leader, but he's also like...
It brings out the best qualities of him.
It's like in the first Avengers when the guy goes like, I'm always angry, and then he punches... He's able to finally just let loose and kill aliens.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that that's what he wakes up to every morning. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck, I love killing.
Yeah.
And, like, that's kind of what I think why that Planet Hulk was so great, is you got to see him just...
In his element.
In his element. And everyone he fought would never give it. They were still like, all right, well, we're going to kill this entire village if you do that. You know, it was always like that kind of thing, too, or like...
And you got the idea, too, that if on Earth, if you just left the Hulk alone for a few minutes to figure stuff out and not always being chased by Thunderbolt Ross, you know, that he would eventually have grown to this place where he wouldn't be just Hulk smash.
Yeah, but he'd have to do a lot of smashing to get to that place, I think is the problem. And there's this Hulk conundrum. I liken it to, if you watch the DC animated Superman, Batman, Justice League, those shows.
Yeah.
I think it's in the Justice League when Darkseid comes into Metropolis and like invades the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
like
yeah.
Parademons
That was
everywhere.
the Superman.
Yeah,
right.
and there's an incredible speech that Superman gives in that, where he's just like, what we have here is one of the rare opportunities for me to cut loose. Not worry, I live in a paper world. Like, you know, you're just like, and you got like, that's sort of the whole, like, that's what happens when you create the strongest being in the world. Like, everything is delicate and like, it's got to get, I would just be like, I can't do this. And that's always been the problem with the whole, like, you'd leave him alone, but what is he going to do? It's like, guys, all I do, I just break, that's my power. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't disagree with you leaving him alone, but I think we just grow bored.
Well,
like,
I don't mean, when I say is leave him alone in the sense that on that planet, he was able to fully grow and to understand his limits and to build on his leadership qualities. But I think he always had those marbles in him. And in the original Marvel Comics, I think the Hulk was constantly being chased. So he had to go back to being Banner. And so every time he'd, learn a little bit more about what's it like to just inhabit the world as the Hulk, that would be cut short. And he'd have to go back to being Banner. Somebody would beat the shit out of him, or he would be chased, or he'd calm down. Whereas Planet Hulk, there's never really any calming down.
Yeah. Well, okay.
He's always on his guard on that planet.
Yes, but he's always on his guard, but he's always like, there's no like when an armada shows up, he's like, let's talk to them. It's always like, good, he just goes for it, like, and like, and then, but that's what's funny. He's like, he's such a great leader. It's like, no, he just killed like everybody, and you just were behind him, and then, like, we won, like, yes, we, and then, but I think if you've ever read Old Man Logan,
I did not read the comic, no, which I hear is great.
That to me is one of the best. If you leave Hulk alone. Stories. It's not a good thing. It's a dark, horrible thing. Where there's all these like inbred Hulk children, and you realize because the only person he can bear children with is his cousin, and they keep going like, well, Banner is like a villain. He's like, yeah, I run this town, and it's because he, like, what else is he gonna do? It's like there's a Wolverine versus the Hulk ultimate thing where it's like he sleeps with like 100 women and he's like a king. Like, it's like the Hulk has to like do. I think his nature is he has to be that. He has to be a conqueror of some sort. And in Planet Hulk, he's fighting another conqueror. You know what I mean? I think that deep down inside, I think the Hulk is like a dark, dark character that the way he's written, I mean, you can make him however you want, but like,
sure.
But I think Old Man Logan is more what you're going to have there. And it's even, but when he goes to fight him originally, it's just Banner. And he just says, yeah, no, I am who I am. And he can, same strength, He's like, "Oh, you kidding? Like, this is how I spend my days." And then he turns into like a giant version of the Hulk when he wants. But it's like this thing of like, there's no real difference except the size.
I think that the Hulk is really in Bruce Banner all the time before gamma radiation ever took its deadly toll.
The Hulk is a manifestation of Bruce Banner, and you realize Bruce Banner's
Jekyll and Hyde a little bit. Yeah.
Well, because he was beaten so much by his dad, he's just like hateful and angry. And as smart as he is, to always try to impress his dad, and he was scrawny. But like, there's always that rage that's in there. That but that's what I mean. There's like,
come on, guys, we've all felt that.
Great line in the first Avengers movie, right, where Ruffalo goes, "I'm always angry."
Right.
And that's the I think that's the character. There's always that fire burn. Like, this is a manifestation of Banner. The Hulk isn't like didn't come out of like he wasn't shot by 4 special rays or anything.
Right.
But,
but see, and getting back to the movies, I think that would be great to see in the movies instead of making him be this kind of goofy version of Mark Ruffalo, like in Ragnarok. I'd like to see more of the "I'm always angry" side of the Hulk. I want to see that dark side.
They might explore that eventually. I mean, I did like the Hulk film, the Incredible Hulk.
I think that's a really underrated movie
with
Edward Norton.
With
Jason
Norton,
Bateman.
Yeah. And I thought that was but like how you're talking about how he's never given a chance to just relax and not be, because I got that feeling a lot in that film where like just when he has a quiet moment, William Hurt comes in with the fucking army again and just like just don't leave him alone. I mean, and I also like the idea that it's such a thing of like walking on eggshells, like he could turn any moment, or even even a drop of his blood getting into the soda bottles in the factory is dangerous. Like, like he's just so potent.
I'm just fascinated by that character, and I think that there are a lot of really interesting ways you could go. I'd love to see a bunch more Hulk films,
like a one-off
just
film.
Solo Hulk films to explore all elements of that.
Yeah.
Well, the new series out is like a horror movie kind of feel to it.
Comic book wise.
Okay.
Really?
Super popular.
Great. Okay.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
But real quick about Ragnarok, the one thing that they got right, now that I'm remembering it better, he does say, "No, I love living here. I've got ladies, I got food. I'm king." Like,
right.
The only thing that killed it for me was when he goes, "Aha, you're trapped here just like me." Where you're like, that's where you kind of go like, where they had to do it for some reason, as opposed to like he can go like, "All right, I'll go help the Avengers." Like I would be much more motivated if Hulk gave up this like perfect life to go help his buddy to save everybody.
Yeah.
And then when they turn to Banner and it gets screwball, I'm not a fan. I'm not.
No.
Yeah, I agree with that part of it. Like where when he's back to just being Mark Ruffalo, it kind of gets wacky.
Yeah, I'm not.
That was a little too much wacky.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I've said to Matt my issues because you made comment about everyone quipping. I did enjoy it a lot, though.
Me too.
Really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
And
I did enjoy it. There are those moments where I go, this strikes false to me.
Well, but since we are on the subject of Hulk, how much we love Hulk, I just think a She-Hulk would be great.
I was wondering
like
how
to
we got
see
on this.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
She-Hulk would be fun.
Yeah.
James.
All right, James.
I think you guys know I'm a big Alan Moore fan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think us all, right?
Yeah.
No?
I'm a little Alan less, but I'm not.
Nice.
The best adaptations of his stuff are faithful enough. I think V for Vendetta is faithful enough. Watchmen is faithful enough.
I enjoyed it.
I like both those films.
And League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the feature was a huge missed opportunity for a comic series that was brilliant.
I didn't mind that movie. I kind of
Get out.
No, there were parts I did not like, but I had not read
Wow.
I had not read the
And if you
original.
haven't read it, it makes the movie better, I believe.
Right.
But if you've read it, it's
I just love the idea.
It's a great idea.
Fantastic concept.
Yeah. And he went on. He expanded it into a series of books that go from the Victorian period all the way up to present day, where you've got all these different characters from literature interacting with each other. And it's wonderful. It's very, very rewarding. And this is not the kind of thing that can be done in a feature. The proper way to do it would be long form, like an HBO or a Netflix series, several episodes, and do it from beginning to end faithfully as you can. Now, there's certain things that you cannot include that were in the comics because he throws in a lot of detail There's background stuff that's references to literature that are really obscure, and that's part of what makes it brilliant. It's almost like a game. You're trying to identify everything. And books have been written about all the different little characters that you see in the background.
Yeah, compendium. You can get a compendium for every panel. You can find like 20 things, 20
Yeah.
references.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
awesome. But just as far as an adaptation that would work great, if it were done properly, I think it would have to be done long form, but it would be wonderful to see that done, and I think it could be tremendously successful.
What's that horrible show on Showtime where there's a vampire, there's a werewolf?
Penny Dreadful?
Penny Dreadful.
I have not seen that.
It's pretty dreadful.
I tried.
No, the first few seasons were great. It turns into complete shit.
Really?
I feel by the end of season 1, it's just like kind of, it leaves you like, okay, it's like this slow build. Like I'm like, okay, I'm in. And then around when season 2 comes back, I just sort of, all right,
But it has similar
like
concept
similar concept.
in that you've got these
Literary
characters
characters.
from...
Season 1 was great.
But style wise, it would be perfect for League of,
I
that sort
agree.
of
Yeah,
like,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, just very like low key building to something, like one thing. And in the movie, I did not like it either, but I did like Captain Nemo. I thought like they got his ship right.
Yeah.
And he was
Okay.
great. The actor
His
was fun.
ethnicity.
Well, and the actor was really good at it, and I liked it. And then they made him more like a swashbuckler, and like that was the best thing about the thing. I did
cool.
not like I can do that. Who's that guy? Sean
Connery.
Connery.
Yeah.
Well, that,
And then
Alan
they
Quartermain.
and they added was it
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer, right?
They-
But
they
that
added-
was added, I think, later. Like that was not from the book, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
no. They added Tom Sawyer. They added Dorian
Dorian
Gray.
Right.
They had
President Truman. They added.
the invisible,
Fatty Arbuckle.
the Invisible Man. I thought the
I need some pancakes, quick!
Give me a Coke bottle.
oh my God. I thought the Invisible Man was kind of cool. Though.
We're gonna have to cut that scene.
The
the Invisible Man was pretty
'cause he
good
was
too.
kinda creepy and crazy. Like that was
In the book, it's
And that's in the
He's
book.
that way.
Incredible,
He's
yeah.
very,
Okay.
It's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he gets burned and stuff, saving everybody.
yeah.
Which is amazing they were able to do this. Like that was the one thing about that character is like at the very end he was noble and whatever, and then like but where he's just horribly burned, but you don't see it, you just know it.
Right,
it's like
right.
it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Because you'd like to see the burns.
Yeah.
You're such a sicko.
I just don't like invisible people. Don't trust
No,
them.
I don't trust him. No.
Well, James, that's a nice one. I like that.
I think
Yeah,
it would work.
That's good.
All right, Matt.
Matt?
Back
All
into
right.
your corner.
Well,
Give us a dream superhero team.
I've got one. It's not a team.
Okay.
But I've got one. It was from First Comics. And First Comics did a lot of books that I really enjoyed. They did Nexus, which was a fantastic series by...
Space.
yeah, with a lot of space in that one. You got Mike Barron and Steve Rude. Amazing artwork by Steve Rude. But within that same universe, there was a character called the Badger. You remember the Badger?
the Badger.
The Badger
Can't
was
die,
great.
right?
No, the Badger. Now, in this day and age where we've got crazy superheroes like Deadpool,
Right.
this character was really crazy. He was a multiple personality. And first of all, his regular identity, his normal legal identity is Norbert Sykes. But then there's the other personalities, the Badger, who is this martial arts expert who also loves animals and defends the environment. Amongst the other personalities, you've got Emily, who is a 9-year-old girl. And Norbert was abused by his dad, so the girl kind of like reflects that vulnerable aspect of his personality. And then you've got Pierre, who is homicidal, who has a French accent, surprising, and comes out during stressful moments. There's also Leroy, who is a dog. And this personality is from a dog that his abusive dad, beat to death when he was a kid. So he's got all these characters, and every once in a while they come out while he's in the middle of a mission. And some of the side characters, he's got this benefactor named Ham, and Ham is this dark sorcerer, kind of a Aleister Crowley type, who's wicked, but also uses Norbert to help him in his own schemes. But you get the feeling that if Norbert was ever really in the way, he would just take him out. And in the comic book, they did these scenes where Ham would be doing some sort of ritual where he had to sacrifice some animal, and next thing you know, here comes the badger out of nowhere, like coming after him, like, how dare you mess with that sheep? And it was
Is it done serious though? Is it like darkly serious, or is it more darkly?
it was an
comic?
interesting book because it would go back and forth between comic and drama. It almost had a feeling of like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon when he would be
Right,
at his
get
weirdest.
unhinged,
There would be
yeah.
that element to him. But when you get into why he's crazy, because there's all kinds of things, abused by his dad. And then he was also in a Vietnamese prisoner of war camp.
Oh, jeez.
And so that didn't make things any better. And within the comic, they delve into both sides. When you're dealing with his adventures and his relationship with Ham, that kind of stuff is a little more lighthearted.
Right.
But I would like to see that kind of thing tackled because I just think it would be interesting to balance the two worlds of this wacky, crazy character. With Deadpool, he's crazy, but you're kind of like, oh, he's crazy. He's not really, you don't really take it seriously. Like, oh my God, it's this poor, sad guy. He's mentally ill,
More like-
which is Norbert Sykes.
Right.
It would be kind of a tough job being able to
Someone
balance
would make
those
it
two.
too wacky.
They would make it too
Yeah.
wacky.
But
Yeah.
I could
Jim
s-
Carrey.
Yeah. But I could
yeah.
see.
Not
I
in
could
the bad.
see.
I mean, that's just what it would be.
I could see a big actor wanting to tackle that. Like it could be a real field day for the right actor, to do these personalities and do all these,
And you need somebody who is kind of an iconoclast when it comes to directing to be able to go there, to be able to
Right.
not be afraid to go from a comedic moment to something really dark.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that would be interesting.
The Badger's beloved. Like people love it.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's like '90s indie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out.
And
during that time.
I still have all my issues, and I really love the book. And yeah, there's a good cult following, but you don't hear it really talked about. And yes, the Marvel Universe, there's so many characters that you can pick and choose from. But to get some of those more obscure comic lines that are, some of them, like I remember Kamiko had a whole line of their characters, and just to use some of these really obscure comic book teams or characters from lines that just don't even exist anymore.
Right.
That's a treasure trove.
How many superhero characters are there that have like that?
A lot from the 90s. Oh, wait.
split person, like multiple personalities. That's kind of
Was it-
cool.
Moon Knight we were discussing that the other day.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was a crazy one, right? Wasn't he a
Yeah,
crazy?
he kind of had
and
like
then-
schizophrenic a little bit.
In
Yeah,
the
I
new,
like
new
Moonlight.
series. There's all of his people. I think everyone that helped him, his friends were actually in his head.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
kind of Fight
that's kind
Clubby
of cool though.
and
I like that.
Isn't
idea.
that James McAvoy character?
Oh
in
yeah,
the-
Split. Right. As
Split,
a,
yeah.
Oh yeah, kind of right.
But he's a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
Has Glass come out yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It came in.
I heard
March,
it.
huh?
I heard
Wasn't
it
that
wasn't
good.
so great.
What?
Well, I like Split.
No,
I
yeah, me
enjoyed
too.
Split.
Yeah, me
I
too.
didn't.
But it's,
M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm with you, but Split I enjoyed.
but Split, the least interesting thing about Split was the stupid thing at the end to create a shared universe. Who fucking cares? Like I just like that movie, but they had to make the thing like a shared universe, and then let's make
Hey,
Glass. And
it could have been good.
I mean, I haven't
seen Glass, so I
heard
don't
bad
know.
things, but I did like Split.
It could have been good.
Because I think Unbreakable. It was a good movie.
I liked Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I liked Unbreakable until the end. They didn't know what to do. They just kind of stopped the movie.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it just
yeah.
had no ending.
Yeah.
It's.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that.
But I like the concept.
I thought it was different. It looked different. The pacing, everything. It was a superhero movie that didn't feel like every other superhero.
Right,
movie.
right. No,
Yeah.
The Badger still would be an interesting one to do.
Are you done listening
No.
to me? Is that what that means?
No, I thought that was wonderful.
Thank you.
I just wanted to find out. I know Fred's got a slew of these. So
Fred?
I literally have a hunch.
He can't hear one more second of
The
me.
ferret.
So
I think the Badger's great. I think the Badger's great. It's giving.
no,
ferret, the
there
ferret.
is there is no ferret.
No, come
there
on.
might be. I don't
There's
know.
Mr. Scratches. Now his power.
No, Fred. So do you have another one for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. Gosh, it's a toss-up. Can I
pitch 'em both.
I'm gonna pitch 9 real
no.
fast.
go
but,
do it.
in Mr. Monster, have you guys?
I've heard of Mr.
Mr.
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
What is that?
That sounds familiar. I want to know. Tell me more.
He came out in Dark Horse, and basically fights. He just looks like a superhero, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think he has any real powers. That's what's so great about it. He just has like.
Okay, now
It's like he just has like his alter ego, like a darker side. He calls Mr. Monster, puts on the outfit.
Does he deal with monsters?
Yeah, he did do. He fought a serial killer at one point, but
That's not a monster.
oh no.
Anyway, so what's the
But yeah,
next
he
one?
fights monsters and has a laser.
Does he have 4 of them?
Wait, he has a laser? Is that for real?
He does have a
well,
laser,
it's-
doesn't he?
it's- Yeah.
Come
yeah,
on,
yeah,
do you
yeah,
know
yeah.
this?
No, he does have a laser.
Yeah. Doc Stern.
He's a monster laser.
He's like Captain America, but fought monsters.
Okay.
I love the outfit. I remember the outfit.
It's amazing, and like he basically just fights monsters, and he has like a big gun. He has guns, and at one point, like it wasn't a laser gun, but he has like a giant blaster, and he's just like a tough guy that wears the outfit.
What kind of monsters?
yeah, what kind of
Like
monsters?
classic
werewolves,
like werewolves and stuff. Okay.
werewolves,
Okay.
sea monsters,
Werewolf.
aliens.
Cool.
Okay.
Women who won't date him. It's really that's where it gets dark. And like
Bad bosses.
people who fire him.
I'm not sure.
He's the Punisher. He's just like, no, but
See, that's the thing I would like more of because they dropped the ball when it came to the universal shared universe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did they ever?
And, you've got all these Marvel horror characters. You've got Werewolf by Night,
Yeah.
Tomb of Dracula. And so I would love to see something like this where you've got a superhero mixed with the monster world,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
played seriously.
Yes.
But it's like, but what it is, it really is like the Punisher, but with monsters. Like he's like they're like I remember reading
Declared
one
war on monsters.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And I remember
cool.
reading one where a thing is like a monster's like, hey, we can both. It's like no, boom, boom, boom. Like it's like this no, like he just kills the monster.
Right. That's cool.
And they've tried to make him different in the later ones, like give him powers and stuff like that. But I just love that he was just a dude who fought monsters in a
Right.
badass costume, and in a costume for no reason.
Right.
Like if Captain America was like,
Right.
oh, I don't have any powers or a shield, but I can fight. I'm good at fighting, and like that's kind of what it's like. And then
Right.
so,
Well, Blade worked really well. It was a
yeah.
series of films
Yeah. Yeah.
for the most part.
I think so.
And
Blade has powers.
well, yeah,
Well,
but
he's-
no,
he's
but
like
what
that,
I'm
right.
saying is that there was a superhero enmeshed in the world of the supernatural.
Right. Because
And
didn't he premiere first in Tomb of Dracula? Wasn't that?
I believe so.
I
yes.
think that's where.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. That's where his
Yeah.
character originated.
And that can work. Do more of that.
Right. Right.
There were a couple aborted attempts to do a monster super team in the Marvel Universe. There was the Legion of Monsters.
Okay.
And they did a one shot, and I think it might have been Marvel Spotlight, but it was Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, Morbius the Living Vampire, Man Thing, and somebody else.
So they're all
And
monsters.
Vengeance
fighting.
at one point was part of it, or they fought.
Well,
Vengeance.
they've revisited this idea over the years, and they did like there was again one of those black and white Marvel magazines. They did another version, and I know that there was a story where at one point there's a Franken Castle, who is the pun. It's Frank Castle.
But this is the worst moment.
It sounds ridiculous.
No, it's not a Franken Castle. It's Frank Castle who got hit by a truck and obliterated.
Yeah, and they put them back together.
Put them together. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying let's do that, but let's get a bunch of monsters that work as a team.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right. That's all.
No,
I'm
no,
saying.
Monster Squad.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'm all about
no.
Mon-
But
Monster
Frankencastle, I what I want them to do is I want them to do the test scenes of that and then show me that so I can just enjoy that, but not have it be part of the movie.
Okay.
I do want to see a Frankenstein version of Frank Castle.
It's so bad. It's one of the worst written things because he's like, oh, I'm Frank Castle. I still got to punish. It's kind of his thing, but he's like, he'll look at himself and go like, I'm a monster. It's really
I've never
hard.
read it. It sounds terrible.
It's horrific.
but I do want to see it live action.
It's horrific. Because you sit there and you're like, it's like if Marvel just went, oh yeah, remember the Punisher? Check this out. I've just ruined everything.
Well, then they also did a version of him where he's a supernatural. He's like the Spectre or something, right? Didn't they do a version where he's a ghost or something? He's like this.
I don't remember that one.
Spiritual demon character, and he was like the Spectre, is like the spirit of vengeance.
Right.
Who's weirdly one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe.
I don't think he started that way, but he ended up being like almost omnipotent, right? In like the Alan Moore books, there's a scene. I remember there's this great John Tuttleben artwork. Swamp Thing is talking to John Constantine, and it pulls back, and you see that they're like in the eye of the Spectre. And that'd be another movie I'd love to see, The Spectre.
The Spectre.
Yeah. Do you know this book?
No.
Yeah. He's an old character
Yeah,
too.
it's
He's
kinda
part of the
golden age, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justice Society.
A murdered
He's a
detective that got murdered.
Jim Corrigan.
Jim Corrigan.
Yeah.
Who seeks vengeance before his killing, but accepts to become the spirit of vengeance.
Yeah, and then later on they did some, I can't remember the writer, but it was Jim Aparo who did the artwork, and they did a series of these Spectre comics, and it was right during the most strict era of the comic book code.
Right.
And so their way around it was that he would always seek vengeance against these evildoers, but how he would do that is he would turn them into a candle, and then the candle would burn. So that kind of stuff, which is even creepier than if he was, blown apart or cut into pieces. But I love those books. Those are great.
That's why
Wrath of the Spectre, I think it was called.
Wrath of the
That's why it's hard for me to burn candles because I don't.
No, stop.
We've
Stop.
talked about.
That's
this.
not true.
No,
you can't burn a candle because you think there's a person inside.
No, not because
You think you're helping the Spectre?
No, it's because
Beauty and the Beast.
I like. Oh, Beauty. Exactly blue. See, that's the problem with Lumiere. I mean, if he keeps burning, he's going to go away. So
He knows that.
So what does he have to do? Does he have
Maybe
to
he's hoping for that.
No.
Get me out of here.
Does he have to put a new head on every time?
Yeah.
It's like, I have to put on a new head so I
Yeah.
can be a candle again.
Please let me die.
Anyway, so Mr. Monster.
I don't want to molest the cup anymore.
Okay, no.
Feather duster.
No,
Feather duster.
come on. Yeah, so he likes the feather duster. So
By the way, if you look at that movie,
yes.
the Feather Duster is when they become human is the hottest
Yes.
Disney character ever drawn.
Well,
like up there with Jessica, like a Jessica Rabbit. You're like, whoa.
And
Elsa.
let's not.
Elsa from Frozen. Come on.
No.
No,
Oh, come on.
no, that Feather Duster.
Let's not.
But what's funny?
Let's not write off how
she
hot a
is-
feather duster.
No, real
can
quick.
be.
She is so out of his league that until she became a Feather Duster, then he's like, well, he's just a Feather Duster. And I think that's how he got her.
But you
it's
see-
like
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I guess, I used to feel like I was super pretty, and I'm just a Feather Duster. Because he's not a handsome man at
Right.
all. He's
No, he's
really
not.
ugly.
Right.
And
But, we'll say this for our Disney Princesses episode. But
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Monster,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Okay, Mr. Monster, it's just, I double checked, doesn't have powers, 2 guns, finds out about the occult. It's basically supernatural. Have you ever seen that TV show? It's just, but weird
Again, guns, though.
guns,
Right?
Badass guns. and
What
like,
if I just shot you?
like, do you remember the Phantom?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that thing of where like, oh, he
just-
protects the jungle. How? 2 guns? No,
2
real.
guns.
Yeah, like he never originally had any. It was just
Yeah,
a
he has a
dude
ring with a skull on it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
That's sort of like
punch you and makes
yeah,
an indent in
and
your
the
face.
indentation,
They
yeah.
slowly like gave him like some sort of jungle powers.
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
this, it's that kind of thing of just like, oh, the cult. Let me just get my Mr. Monster, and I think it's to strike fear in monster. I don't know what it is, but
Strike fear in monsters.
it's
a good
like
idea.
one of the best costumes ever designed.
Yeah.
It's like bright red and blue with like a monster skull. and
No, it's
yeah,
it's cool.
But that's
Yeah.
nice, Fred. That's Mr. Monster. That's
Okay.
great. I like that.
yeah.
The topic is condescension.
No.
The topic is
I'm just trying to, want to move things along. This
Okay.
is great.
I know.
all right, so,
too many words. Too
okay,
many words being thrown around.
Here's-
All right, John.
All right, so if they can make like 17 Transformers movies, I think they should make a multi-million-dollar live-action movie of the Micronauts.
Oh, Sean!
Which, you got robotic heroes, you got cool
Yes!
villains.
Yes!
Now, what I've read is over the last several years, there's been talk about
Yes.
doing one. J.J. Abrams has been attached
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And at one point, they talked about doing another shared universe where Hasbro and Paramount or something was going to like combine Micronauts with G.I. Joe with Mask. That was another cartoon.
No.
And all, so I
No,
don't
no,
know-
no, no, no,
so
no.
And then I heard like in 2020 they're going to release a Micronauts movie. I don't know, but I've been hearing that forever. But I just think we have talked about those
I have
toys.
so many
That toy
Micronaut
line is so
toys.
cool, such cool characters. And if it was done in
Baron Karza. I still have my
Baron
Baron
Karza,
Karza. Force Commander.
Force Commander!
Biotron.
Space Glider, yeah,
Space
but like
Glider.
done in a realistic live action world, done right.
Yes.
and it could be all. You'd
Have you
human
read the
character-
comic?
No, I've never read the
really
comic.
good.
Is it good? Is it?
It's-
Is it more like a Baron Karza versus the good guys
Well,
kind of thing?
they actually like make like in the toys the characters. It's time traveler.
Yes.
Right,
Space
right,
Glider.
right.
They actually give characters names. Like there's a main girl who like a main woman.
Tracy.
Jennifer Garner, that ends up she's like leading him, but then another guy is leading it with her, like the romantic couple.
Oh, okay,
It's-
right.
You
So
know
it
what
has
it is?
human characters,
It
but-
is pre Guardians of the Galaxy without the comedy. It's that sort of. And then
Really?
they for the comic, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I hate this, but I ended up loving this character. I think it was Hunter. It was just this blob kind of guy that can like change his shape, and like you found out he was a normal guy, but Baron Karza like mutated him, and like It's very New Gods kind of feel to it.
Okay, yeah, I just think that the design of those characters,
It's
it
so
could be
good.
so cool.
And the whole thing is some of the robots, it's a living being. Like Biotron
Right.
is a living
right,
being.
yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, you could explore that. I mean, it's a whole
Croyers.
universe, I think.
Croyers.
Would they be
A
see-through?
Croyer in the comic is
Would they
amazing.
be see-through?
It's like he takes his helmet off.
Some of them, I think
Because they're
yeah, some of them
translucent.
are
Would they
translucent.
be translucent?
I think so. I think
would
they look
look
really
cool.
cool. Yeah,
And there's
the
chrome
visual
and-
possibilities are.
You know how I feel
yeah.
about invisible people.
I do.
How are you
I
going to
do.
discard if
You know,
it's
Sean, it's so funny you should say that because I
would they have a
heard
gun?
bits of information about the Micronauts movie, and God, that would have been so cool.
Yeah, and maybe it'll still happen. I mean, it's such a valuable property, and and when Mego bought the license from the Japanese
Yes.
company, and now Mego's back, and,
Yes.
Mego, I mean, I just think
I'm surprised the Japanese didn't try that at
you're
one
right.
point.
You're right, actually. But franchise, just huge Micronauts mania. That's what I say.
I'd like to see
So
that.
there, yeah.
I think the trick to the Micronauts thing is not making them micro. Do you know what I mean? The whole point is they're in the microverse.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
that's
yes.
true.
And
Well,
like,
yes.
you tell all these incredible stories of like they go to galaxies and stuff like that, and
Yes.
then you realize it's like it's in the head of a pin,
Right, right.
And that's what makes it amazing. Until like they at some point had to they had to sell the toys, they had to come out. But
or
like,
you have human characters in the story be transported into the microverse. Then they're the same,
Yeah, they
then
get shrunk down.
yeah.
Maybe they're discovered by
Yeah.
human characters.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to open, like they're trying to do some kind of fusion experiment, and they open
Yeah.
a portal and they go into the microverse. I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff you could do.
they wrote this character called Bug in the comic, who was kind of like Nightcrawler, but he was a bug, and he would always tick. So he'd be like, I think we should, and like it was this in a comic going like you were like, oh my gosh, it's like the first real character development other than Tony Stark getting drunk. The woman is named Marionette. She's Princess Mari. Arcturus Ran is the space glider. The space glider is just sort of like what they do,
Right.
Like, and he was the guy.
Right.
Do you want to know something, Fred? I have one of my first.
Oh, this is a great
Micronaut
story.
Toys. No, one of my first Micronaut toys was a space glider.
Yeah.
A green. And I loved them to death. This was like one of my favorite toys. Diecast metal, 1976. Would you believe I have one still sealed in the package from
Would you believe?
1976?
This is gonna be a toughie. I'm gonna go with yes, I believe. No, there's some great. I actually
it's trapped in the microverse.
you can't see it
Not only
because
do I-
you're
not
you're
only do I
regular
have the
verse.
green one, which was the first one I had. I also have
The
blue
blue
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a red one, too.
I don't have that one sealed, but I do have the blue one sealed and the green one still sealed on their package. The air inside there is from 1976.
Not bad. I've always wanted Microtron. I never had him. I had Biotron, and you put him in
Yeah,
Biotron.
I didn't have Biotron. I wanted Biotron. It's a big giant one, right?
Yeah.
I still have my Feroid.
Now, do you
cool.
know what was kind of weird? I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a good guy and a bad guy. They were the smaller robots. The bad guy was Nemesis. He was purple, and he had a giant drill right in the
I remember
crotch
that.
area. Do you
Yeah.
remember
Oh, yeah,
that?
yeah.
I remember thinking as a kid,
But it shot out. It didn't. It wasn't just a drill.
No, it was a drill.
Okay.
It was a drill, and you could replace it with just like a giant phallic thing. It was
A
weird.
little something for the moms.
And my toys look played with, Ma.
But that's awesome. That's awesome that you know the comic book. Because like I remember it was out, but I never really read the comic. I just had the toys, and I thought,
Yeah, well, the toys are amazing, but like they really did a great job in the comic. I mean, and it was
Cool.
Marvel.
It was
at some
Marvel,
point.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
they did a
They
great
like
job on the toys,
Nightcrawler
too.
was in a few. and stuff like
so
that,
they introduced other.
Yeah, they
other-
brought it to show like, hey,
Right,
we're
right.
small.
Cool.
Right.
But it's a great book.
Hey, Sean,
And a Croyer is one of the best designed characters ever.
Cool.
I officially greenlight this idea.
Cool.
Sean, do you still have your Micronaut toys?
I don't.
This is all just a lead-in for him to go because I have all mine.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't.
I look. I do have all of mine, but that's not where I was going.
Where were you
No,
going?
but those weren't. I mean,
Where were you going?
Yeah, I don't.
Come on, Larry, where were you going?
I did not burn them or blow them up. I cherish my Micronauts, but I don't know what happened.
The drill
With the
on mine
move
doesn't
and-
work
yeah.
anymore.
I lost. I don't know what happened to them.
There's no way.
thing about it is
There's
that-
no getting that clean.
Well, there are. I mean, there were some small design flaws on the toys, and it's
On the
because-
drill,
And
let's
the
say.
fact that they fall
One
apart
speed?
in the joints and all
No, it's
sides.
because no one expects you to have a toy for like 30 years or something like that, or 40
Right.
years, and so the little thumbs on the little plastic hands, typically they would break
Right,
off
right.
because
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
constantly putting weapons in
Well,
them.
I bet you if you look online, there's refurbished, like, because they come off. The hands come right off and you put new ones on.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I know, but
Yeah.
you could. But if you were a kid that was
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah.
good
No,
with
no,
your
I'm not-
your
yeah.
Micronauts, you know, they would still be in perfect shape.
But you could just buy some now. Just get a couple ones where just the hands were in good shape and just put new hands on them.
Well,
True.
You could do that.
I remember when I was a kid and I was like pretty little when they came out, like 5 maybe when it was, and I just started collecting. I cared about that and Mego toys.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when Star Wars came out, like everyone was into Star Wars, and I kept going like, no, Micronauts, they're still the thing. Like I at this point had amassed, and you didn't get like a ton of, not like now, like a collector would be like one toy every 6 months. You know,
Right.
but by this time you had, you know,
Sure,
like,
sure.
and I found like a place called Jimco, which always would
Yes.
sell.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
Jemco.
Which I think is came Zodi's became Target, but
Yeah.
there was always a damaged something that you could buy for like a $40 thing that they'd be like, oh, it's $5 because the thing's damaged.
Ooh, really?
And I remember I got their space shuttle for the Micronauts, and it was like no one cared in the world. Like not one friend was like, wow, but I was just like we did it, guys. and their spaceship.
The Stratastation or the
Not the Stratastation, but the
rocket tubes, the Mega City.
Oh, Mega City! I wish I could. Get
I
Mega
had
City.
that.
Yeah, I remember
still
seeing
have
the
that.
pictures
That's
of that.
amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
And
yeah.
rocket tubes.
Well, but to be fair, though, the Micronauts as toys now, way more fun than the Star Wars toys.
They're better made
Way
toys.
well,
Oh, yeah.
ahead of their time. Like there's the spaceship where you can take it off, it becomes guns. That would shoot those rubber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
things,
and just
like,
the fact you
hard.
I have that.
And the metal,
Hard.
I have
It's so
that,
good.
by the way.
and the
It's
metal and
called-
plastic together, and,
Right.
and the magnetism thing.
Yeah.
That was genius.
And you could launch the front part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's cool is all the pieces come off, and it's like the missiles. They're these giant like dart guns, and I have that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And the Micronauts were just great. And just to let you know, when Star Wars figures came out, like in '78, I mean, Micronauts were still around. Micronauts
Yeah.
were
Lasted
around
till, like,
till like
about 1980,
early
right.
80s.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. But they came up with like Pharaoh and like
Pharaoh-
those characters. Yeah.
I have Pharaoh too.
I didn't get the later ones though. I kind of
Yeah.
the first
I thought it-
wave.
I thought it was Feroid.
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 And what happened is
Whatever.
then they changed. They were like the interchangeables. Do you remember that?
Yeah, with the like
That was-
pterodactyl looking
jump-
guy. And
It jumped the Feroid.
Yes, but just getting back to Sean's
traveler.
concept of the Micronauts. Sean, I applaud you. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
All right,
cool.
what do you got?
Well, I can't follow that.
Okay,
but-
James?
No, well, I'm gonna do my best, and maybe this will be quick.
All right.
This guy really isn't necessarily a superhero, but it was a comic that I liked as a kid, and at first I didn't think that there was any animated cartoon or live action stuff. I've done some research and I found there was. I didn't know, but I don't know if it's well known, and that's the Turok, Son of Stone.
Oh yeah.
So
Was
he's
that
basic-
Kirby?
Well,
Gold Key, right?
Yeah, Gold Key.
but Valiant bought it.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, he's like a Native American, and he lives in dinosaur times. Or
It's like Khazar. It's
Yeah.
Or is it? He kind of goes. It's kind of like Valley of Guanji, where he goes into an area which is surrounded, which there's dinosaurs everywhere. So here you have this Native American guy and his brother who are in dinosaur times, and I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, of fighting dinosaurs with spears and bows and arrows and stuff like that. I just thought that would be really cool if it was done seriously.
Like
So-
a barbarian kind of world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I like
Okay.
that.
I mean, maybe not as cool as Micronauts, but I just thought that would be nice.
If you go back and read the Valiant comics of Turok, they're really well done. That first Jim Shooter world where they created these guys, it was really good. Like I would say, like any of that original Valiant universe, which they're trying to do now, they're
Really?
trying to yeah.
Would Magnus be in there? Magnus Robot Fighter?
Yep, because it was Gold
Oh,
Key.
yeah.
Yes, it was Gold Key.
Valiant just went, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it. All
'Cause-
these things that nobody cared.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
And the beauty-
I'd like to see Magnus.
I
With
was-
the shorts and
Yes,
everything.
I-
But we realized the robots really do have feelings, and he's like, he's been killing them forever. No, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
they're like, yeah.
yeah.
Like, oh shit, really?
That's the end. Credits roll. What have I done?
I'm an asshole.
No, maybe he doesn't say anything. Maybe you just get a close up of his face and a little tear rolls down.
But it's oil.
Oil.
And you find out he's an android.
see, this is genius.
Bum,
There you
bum,
go.
bum.
Genius.
Then there's a road trip.
Well, anyway, so Turok, Son of Stone.
like
James,
that. I like
Good,
that.
good.
When I was a kid, I was a big fan of Underdog. And about 10 years ago, Disney did a feature that was just so misguided.
It was just like a regular dog.
It was a regular
right?
dog.
Did it talk or something?
I think its mouth moved.
Oh my god!
with
Yeah, I remember
animation.
seeing a trailer for like, what the
It was
fuck?
Like Garfield-y, right?
Yeah, so misguided.
I love the cartoon too.
I loved it, and what I would love to see, I'm not 100% sure how they would pull it off, but I think now with CG technology and in a sort of a Pixar animated way,
But I'd keep that design.
definitely keep the design.
But I would miss all those great voices, though.
Well,
you know,
you'd
'cause,
have to find ways
yeah.
to bring back Wally Cox.
Simon Bar Sinister.
But
Yeah.
the thing about one of the things I loved about it was that for basically a dog version of Superman, as a cartoon that had humor in it, it wasn't really that funny. It was actually a lot more dark, as I remember it. And I would want the movie to be the same way. I'd want humor, but I'd also want the edge.
Right.
I'd also bring in Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
As like, I don't know, maybe they could team up.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that was sort of a similar, again, it was anthropomorphic
Yeah.
crime fighters, but not necessarily all that funny.
It wasn't super crazy goofy.
It
Like
wa-
it was
it wasn't
kind of,
super chicken.
They were yes.
Yeah.
They were kind of like real superheroes fighting bad guys who were really making
Really
serious
bad
threats.
guys, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Riff Raff and Simon Bar Sinister. I love. They were like
Yeah,
they were
totally.
nasty
Simon Bar
characters.
Sinister actually creeped me
kinda-
out and
he
was
was kinda
scary.
creepy.
Oh, he had that voice.
Simon says,
Yeah. Yeah. that's
go
creepy.
snow.
The cliffhanger where Sweet Polly is in the
Sweet Polly
hot air
purebred,
balloons,
yeah.
and he has the record of her voice saying "help, help,"
yeah,
and
yeah.
he doesn't know which balloon to rescue. I mean, that's still it's like
When Polly's in trouble, I am not slow. It's hip, 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 and away I go.
Yeah,
What-
I could see that. They
Greatest
were-
love.
Wrong balloon. Shit.
Anyway, I'd love to see it done right, even
me
just
too.
just for the main title with that song. I would
Oh
love
my
to
god,
see
it was
that.
good. I still like that cartoon. I mean, it's a great
Yeah,
cartoon.
it is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that's mine, Matt.
Well, I'm going to go back to Marvel, and I think it would be an easy sell because we already know these characters, with the exception maybe of one when it comes to the cinematic universe. I would like to do a film of the Invaders.
The Invaders.
The Invaders. The Invaders are made up of Captain America, Namor, the Submariner, and the Human Torch. We're talking the
I
Golden
remember
Age
this.
one. And the Golden Age Human Torch was an android created in a lab, as opposed to being born from two androids.
So
I don't know why I have to explain this.
Would this be period? Would it take?
This
place-
would be period. They
fight Nazis.
They
No,
fight
World War I.
Nazis.
Or the
No,
World-
no,
World War II.
Nazis.
World War II.
Yeah.
Nazis, yeah.
I remember this actually now. Yeah, because I remember Namor and Captain. Yeah.
So far, my favorite Captain America movie is First Avenger. I love that one. I love
great.
it being
So
a
great.
period
The
thing.
period, yeah.
So well
And
done.
I would love to see more of that. And I would also like to see Namor introduced into
Yeah,
the Marvel
great
universe.
character.
It's somebody who's been there the whole time.
Yes,
Yeah, I do
yeah.
like that
Right.
kind of stuff. There's a comic book that just came out like a couple months ago, which is Marvel Tales. They're redoing Marvel Tales. And like they're playing with the Invaders, and they throw in like Wolverine could have been there, like technically Nick Fury.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the things they did, and I got to reread it. I mean, it's the one that just came out. I think it's number one, where they're in Atlantis, and like Namor is like, people are good. It's like he's a nice guy. Comes up and it's like World War II, and he becomes like a soldier to try to like, I'm going to blend in with them, and he's just like sees some sort of atrocity. He's like, oh, these are not good. That's how he slowly
interesting.
becomes like.
Does he do anything
Darker.
to kind of alter his appearance? Like, does he have the pointed ears?
Well,
and
doesn't he comb his hair over his ears and the Invaders a lot of times because you got to blend in.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like that. He combs his hair
Or
over
he
his
would do what
ears.
Spock does and wear a beanie.
I always remembered
Right.
Namor not giving a fuck what anybody thought. The first time we ever see Namor in those original comics, he walks onto the surface and declares war on the surface world.
Yeah, but can pick up a tank and throw a tank.
Yeah, no, he's really strong and arrogant, and he's a monarch.
But that's what I liked about this take on it, and I got to reread it. I could be wrong. I could have just like envisioned it. But this thing of like before that, there was a Namor who was just this magnanimous king. Who was like, yeah, everyone's like us, Atlantis. Don't worry, I'll be right back. Hey guys,
Yeah.
new Namor here.
Yeah, slight change of plans.
They're coming. We don't like them.
One, don't like the ears.
Nobody has wings on their ankles.
They
there.
did notice the wings on the ankles. Yeah, kind of a give. Don't go to the pool.
So you would see this, it's live action.
How
Cake
much
plate-
fun would that be? You've
Those
got
three,
the
yeah.
Red Skull.
No,
You
Right,
could
yeah.
introduce a bunch of other cool Nazi supervillains.
right.
And, you've got Captain America and you've got the
I
Human
love,
Torch,
yeah.
which, as much as I love the Fantastic Four,
I love
they're
it.
never going to do a good version of that. Unless they do something where they make it
Yeah, they
period,
gotta-
or I don't know.
I think like you've mentioned that before by doing it period. I think
Swinging
that could be-
60s,
I think something because they
how every approach has been wrong. And so if you went back to that android Human Torch, that could be a nice original take. Because I just think that the Human Torch as a visual is such a great character.
yeah.
And then you add a little bit of the element of the android trying to figure out who he is and his place, and then you've got that what is love, but juxtaposed with Steve Rogers maybe getting a little bit of the roots of his questioning authority, because maybe not everything that the Allies do is necessarily copacetic in his
clean,
mind.
right.
Yeah.
But that was also the Steve Rogers that walked around with like a Tommy gun a lot more than a shield too. Like,
And we do that too.
Yeah, I always thought that
When
was,
is a gun ever bad?
well in the even in the movie when there's a scene where he comes in and he's shooting people.
Yeah.
It's like that was Captain America for the first half. Like, hey, the shield's there. Anyways,
And I would love to see the original shield back again, and that we see the way that he utilizes that. Now, of course, the circular shield that Captain America, that we all know and love, uses, that makes sense because you can throw it like a frisbee.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see how he uses maybe the edges of that shield and how it gets real up close and dirty.
Right.
Frontline
Gritty
carnage.
fighting.
Because
Yeah.
it has a point. Doesn't have a
Yeah.
Matt,
Yeah.
that's a really neat idea.
And a lot of opportunities, if depending on who wrote it or directed it, of hitting all elements of war is hell,
Right.
but
Like-
yet
like
we're
save-
also fighting the good fight.
Like
and-
Saving Private Ryan meets the Marvel Universe.
yeah,
But the thing
it'd be nice to see the invaders, at D-Day,
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
storming the shores of Normandy.
Yeah. Yep.
That
or
would
like,
be
cool.
or showing up late, like you're there, like we would have. Well, I mean,
Or we show up late,
no,
and it's
no.
all taken care of.
No.
All right, here's our cover story.
No. See, we can't. No. You can't do that because then you mess up history. I love the idea.
it's an alternate
You
history.
have a great concept where it's like, if you guys remember with D-Day, there was a lot of fog. So it could be the plan was to put these guys in first or whatever, and either something's wrong with the plane or they can't see where they're supposed to land, and so there's a delay. Or something, and so maybe they come later. Or so there's something really.
The invaders
cool.
come later.
The invaders
Yeah,
come later.
turn
But,
the tide.
It's
You realize-
really cool. And the thing is, I love Chris Evans as Captain America.
Oh, he's great.
I mean,
He's great.
I would
He's
love
great.
to see him just continue.
Me too.
I do too. But here's the rub of the invaders. It's sort of.
Why do you got to ruin everything?
Oh, I'm filled with hate.
I'm
always angry.
I could see that. I got that.
Yeah, thank
Mr.
you.
Monster during World War II.
The
monsters are the Nazis.
He was around then.
So Fred, what's your issue here?
The Nazis are in our side ourselves.
Yeah,
And
see? Just like Bruce Banner.
Here's the weird thing about like the superheroes in wartime is it indicates that without them we would have lost, and that was also like with the Wonder Woman thing, like. Oh yeah, if she wasn't there, we would have lost. The Allies would have lost.
Well,
you gotta go.
I mean-
but then now,
And it works
Whoa,
okay
whoa.
because we already know that we did win.
But think about it. If you were there, or your ancestors were there, and they fought hard, and it's like, oh, did they really do anything, or did Wonder Woman do that?
Now listen,
I think Captain America
hand
started
in
most of
hand.
the work.
Hand in hand.
Yeah.
In fairness, I see your point, but in
She
fairness,
she inspired the
she
troops.
inspired
Yeah.
me because
I'll say.
Sean brings up a really good point. It's not like she took on the entire force. It was like a battle.
again,
a
in real
battle.
life, what inspired the troops?
Hey, no, it's clear. It's like she, and with her power, inspired these guys to step up a little bit.
Freedom
Yes,
inspired
kinda,
the troops.
Hey, there's
Why
a
are you
woman on the
so-
field. Let's do this.
Follow that dame.
Oh Christ, I've been shot. Oh God. The other people are like, why did I follow her?
I'm gonna need mouth to wound.
Why did I leave the foxhole? Thank you, Wonder Woman. Thank you.
Well, this has been super. This has been just great.
Oh, you've been working on that one the entire show, huh? Oh, good.
No, but this
wow,
has been-
wheels are turning.
Well, this has been great. We brought up a lot of great superhero films that we would like to see? Hopefully someone hears this and maybe says, to the big boss, hey,
Mr.
big
Monster.
boss, I heard about this. But what do you say we guys do? We do a lightning round.
Go.
Throw in a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
really fast, huh?
All right.
Go.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go. This is one I'll go fast for everything, but this one. The comic book, The Tick. He used to do like a story in the back.
Right.
He did a thing called Yogi and the Ark, which and you remember the cartoon where Yogi had an ark?
Yes.
Yogi's
oh, yeah,
Ark.
yeah,
Yogi's Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was called like Yogi and the Ark, and it's basically what was so great about it. They're drawn like real animals, like a real bear and like.
I mean, like realistically drawn.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Squiggly, whatever his name is, he's like
Squiddly diddly.
Squiddly diddly?
Squiddly. He's a real like squid, like, and he's still mopping the floor. So they're doing everything they are and think, but it's like really realistic. And the whole point of it is, mankind destroyed the earth and destroyed themselves, and now Yogi's has his friends on the ark.
Oh my god!
And it's like a real, and I'd love to see like a real depressing real bear leading these people like evolving so that they can save the animal race.
Is
Right.
Boo Boo
Wow.
there? Is
Yeah,
Boo
Boo Boo's there. And it's kind of tragic.
How about
but it's good.
Snagglepuss?
Everybody's there, and it's
my
amazing. 'Cause
gosh.
they're drawn
Did you already
really-
say Snagglepuss?
Not yet.
Say Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss.
Thank you.
But he still has he's still like written like everybody whatever his thing was. That's right.
I'll be in the lounge. Exit all the way.
Oh, Apocalypse is the worst.
Quick Draw McGraw? Quick Draw
I don't know. I didn't see Quick Draw. Was he on the ark?
They were all
think
on the
so.
ark.
On the biblical one, yes.
Yes. But that's I thought it was like I think
like-
it's Ben Edlund wrote it too.
Okay.
It was like it was so like
Yeah.
so it was depressing at the same time. It was really really ingenious.
Okay,
Okay.
Yogi and the Ark.
That's like
Sean?
that's like the Laugh Olympics. They should have just
Oh,
done
yeah.
a.
Yeah, a live action version of that.
All right,
Yes.
Sean.
Okay, here's one. Just I want to have this made just to confuse the world. I want a movie made of Captain Marvel, not the DC Captain Marvel, not the Marvel Captain Marvel. That other weird Captain Marvel that was made in the '60s. It's very confused. But you know about like how Superman, the people who made Superman, tried to sue the people who made Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel was too much like
Superman.
Like Superman. But then for a while, then Marvel Comics became popular. And because the word Marvel was popular in comics, this company called MF Enterprises was run by Myron Fass, who did those eerie magazines, not the eerie, creepy eerie.
Right,
They're
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. He made his own character called Captain Marvel, and it was this weird alien android who could detach all his limbs, like his head would come off, or his hands, or
He's like
arms.
Inspector Gadget
They just
They
they're
just float. They
separated.
just
or the
detach.
Android Stooges.
Yeah, like the robotic stooges.
Yeah.
No, but these were like he would say split, and like his hand would come off and do something separate, and or his foot, and it was so bizarre. And I guess it only lasted a very short time because Marvel
Shut 'em down,
then
yeah.
created, I think, their own Captain Marvel character to have the license. It was just very confusing, but it's just weird. I think maybe 6 issues they made, and he's like this weird alien android. He does these
I love
weird
it.
things. It's very bizarre.
Greenlit.
So they should make it go.
Nice. Okay, I don't know if you're going to greenlit mine, but back in the 80s, there was a movie called Swamp Thing based
Yes.
on the comic.
Solid.
And this is with Adrian Barbeau.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I thought to myself, in our day and age of Guardians of the Galaxy and Groot, I thought that Swamp Thing would be really cool if you had a reboot of him. And where
Well,
I can see
I'm
that.
sure James
Alan
agrees,
Moore.
right?
You adapt the Alan Moore. series.
Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Wonderful.
Do a scary Swamp Thing.
that's
Yeah,
I'm
scary
thinking
monster
little- yes.
kinda-
Yep.
That's what
I
I was
love
thinking.
that idea.
Oh, would you
love
greenlit?
it? Before you even finished your sentence, it was greenlit.
Oh, that
So
makes
there.
me feel good.
You got funding.
Just real quick, what
Swiss
is
bank account, but
what is the difference? What is
there.
the difference between Swamp Thing and Man Thing?
get
so
get out,
much.
get out.
So much.
Wow.
Wow.
James, lightning
First of all,
round.
Man
Ma-
Thing can teleport.
Yeah, and Man Thing hangs out with Howard the Duck.
Okay, gotcha. That's all I wanted to know.
So there you go.
All right, I'll go for the most painfully obvious one. Let's just bring the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe together. What the
Yeah,
hell?
no.
What the hell?
Titans
No.
versus X-Men.
What?
Why
And
not?
animated, I'd watch it.
What?
Oh,
Why not make it? Bring
Animated.
Yeah.
I like to
Because
see it.
I'll tell you why. Because DC has never done a good movie other than Wonder Woman.
Well, that's what would
pretty
make it
much
interesting.
true,
Let's see if the Marvel characters can
And
somehow
Superman, too.
uplift the DC characters into a better movie.
Christopher Reeves.
I want to see. I want to see it attempted.
Yeah.
I want to see Christopher Reeves stopped right before anything happens, thrown into a time machine, and brought now as to be the perfect fucking Superman.
Oh, he was the best.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
Superman
he was-
2,
he
I
was-
wish they
yeah,
would redo
yeah.
it exactly perfectly like that with the bright colors and stuff like
No,
that.
I'm with you.
But
I agree.
yeah, I mean, I'll watch him. No, I won't. I won't watch a DC Marvel crossover. I wouldn't.
What?
Couldn't.
No,
Really?
yes, you would.
No
Come
desire.
on,
You
if
would.
it was really made.
Yes,
My
you
first-
would.
Look, I've supported everything along the way. I just think it is. Look, I have been on this ride, and I have been a big positive voice to everything.
Yes, you
I
have.
mean,
You have yes-anded this
Yes,
entire episode.
Swamp Thing's a stretch, literally. But I just don't. I mean, what would the story? Okay, what is your story? What is the story?
He's gonna write it right now.
No, but like you can't just like.
Well,
Is
look,
it
look, it was
What's your
specific-
story, James?
a team and a team, a person and a person?
It would
I
have
like
to be as a big of a threat as Infinity War, and have the same sort of like that first 30 minutes where in Infinity War all the characters come in, and you have that thrill. You do the same thing with DC characters into the Marvel universe, and little by little, like introduce them all quickly. It could be wonderful. I'm just saying if it's done right.
How about we make it a little simpler? We go back to a classic. Spider-Man versus Superman.
Well, that
The comic.
I love that at the time when it came out.
That was a great book.
Yeah, it was.
Wonderful Ross Andrew artwork.
Oh yes,
Make that.
that would be awesome.
We just make that. And
Make it-
the
make it-
characterization was there.
yeah, yeah.
Spider-Man lasts 3 seconds against Superman in
But
real
that's-
life.
Yeah,
In
no,
real
but
life.
that's in the comic.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you even read that comic?
I read Muhammad Ali versus.
yeah.
That's the one I read over and over again.
Yeah.
Superman
But then we'd
will have
have
no powers.
Would
in
we
this
get
ring.
Will Smith to play?
He can play
Muhammad
both.
Ali?
He can play both. Anytime someone's in space, and it's
He'd have to be
we
Hancock.
aliens want to see people fight. We've chosen Superman, and Muhammad Ali. And what's funny about it, and the thing is, like Muhammad
Spin
Ali,
like a butterfly. Smash skull.
but like Muhammad Ali was all about it. He's like, let's do this, let's go. I'm excited. Like,
That's one thing I
fight this
loved
fight.
about that Superman versus Spider-Man comic. The one thing I always remembered about that is there's a point where they're going to fight.
Yes.
And Superman like loses his temper for a moment, and he's thinking this in the split second. He's starting. He's
about to punch.
He's actually moving his fist
yeah.
towards Spider-Man to hit him, and he's thinking, "Wait, what am I doing? I'm going to completely obliterate and kill him." So he stops like a millimeter from Spidey's face, but just the
air pressure.
the pressure sends Spidey flying like through a building.
That would be
It's-
such a
it's
great
awesome.
scene.
I would.
Yeah.
Okay, I would watch that.
Yeah,
See,
it was awesome.
There you go.
I see. A
And
person
both
is the person.
both Lois Lane and Mary Jane is
Mary Jane Watson,
are,
yes.
are drawn super hot in that.
They are drawn very
I mean,
hot.
they are super hot.
And you've got
70s.
Lex Luthor and Doc Ock.
yeah, which is awesome.
Two brilliant scientists.
No, there you go.
It's good.
Yeah, it
Both
is.
with
It's really good.
terrible hair.
See, they met at a convention.
Doc, is that your real hair? No, nobody knows.
Well, James
It's
said,
a bowl cut. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, and I know we have to go. I literally could do this till like for 4 days. We could,
Yeah,
we
no,
could
no,
lock this door.
me too.
They tried this in the early 2000s, a crossover, and then they
Right.
did the amalgamation universe. Where it's like Wolverine, Batman became one, and it's just like
I mean, they combined, they merged. The,
yeah. First
oh,
they
really?
fought, then their alternate universe started.
Well, they
and
did
it's
it.
just
Didn't
like-
they did Avengers and Justice League.
Really?
With George Perez artwork, which should be wonderful, and I forget who wrote it. But it was bad. And it was
Really?
one of those things because it was too much. It was just too many characters
Right.
and it just got
Too
muddy.
much exposition.
Yes.
That's the problem with that. You gotta go, well, we're here because well, I actually do this. Well, who are you?
Yeah.
In the same universe, like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Hulk, you're the Hulk. Yes, let's go.
Right, yeah.
Like, I think, what
Yeah.
you do? Well, I'm Superman.
That's why I said just two characters. Just do
Maybe,
it that way.
Or
Yeah.
speaking of the 70s, anybody remember Prez? Prez?
Yes, I do.
He was like a
Teenage president.
who became a president.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Comic
It was a
Yeah.
DC comic. I
DC,
think.
yeah, right. It was
Is that like
DC.
is that like Wild in the Streets?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. It didn't
didn't they-
last long.
Didn't they bring him back for a Swamp Thing or something?
Oh my God! didn't
Yeah,
they?
I think
Wow.
they
That
did.
was amazing.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
nice one, James.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt, bring it home.
Well, there was I guess it was a limited series, and I'm pretty sure that Fred has read this, but it was great. You might have even recommended it to me. There was a limited series called Empire, written by Mark
yeah.
Waid,
Yeah.
and it concerned a Doctor Doom type supervillain named Golgoth who defeats all the superheroes and takes control of the world. And the story is all these different forces that are trying to overthrow him and his ability to thwart them. And it's not the most uplifting ending, but it's really interesting and it's really good storytelling because it really hits home the horrors of this futuristic police state, especially when you've got somebody who is as powerful and as smart as this character is. So that would be my suggestion.
Cool.
I like it. It's good.
Well, this has been great. Oh, shit. And the thing that I've learned is that there are so many other superhero movies that we'd love to see. And so, we're going to have to do this again.
We could go on and on and on.
It's true.
But we're not. So there.
All right, I'm going to list 10 things real fast.
Go.
Brubaker's Kill or Be Killed. The Authority.
Authority's great.
Authority's great.
Yeah.
Hot Stuff from the old, I think that little...
Hot Stuff. The
like a little comedy, a little devil.
Yeah, Little Devil.
Yeah.
There's a new one called Realm. It's super awesome. If you like Walking Dead and you like futuristic stuff at the same time.
If you're going to plug Hot Stuff, then I'm going to plug Son of Satan from
I
Marvel.
actually want Son of Satan.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where he's like got to deal with his father.
Damon Hellstrom.
It's one of the best characters they don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say Realm, Madman, if you've ever read Mike Allred.
Madman.
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 Yeah.
Madman.
Madman.
by Mike Allred. Read it. The original one is this great thing where he just fights. He's crazy. He fights people with a yo-yo.
Yeah. Allred's X-Force would be another one.
Ecstatics even before
Ecstatics,
that.
yeah.
And then there's a new one called Scooby-Doo and the Apocalypse. I think it's actually not bad.
Oh, wow.
Anything from I would redo the heavy metal thing. And then lastly, I'll just Machine Man. But if you've ever read Marvel Zombies,
I'm familiar.
Yeah, that's a great book.
It's
I'd like to see
Kirkman's
that.
best work.
Yeah, that's great.
Like where all the superheroes become zombies, so they take over everything. And like the fourth incarnation, they're like, man, who can fight these people? And it was like, oh, Machine Man. Because he's like, he can't be a zombie, so he fights zombies. And I just look like, if you put Machine Man in a situation where it's like, oh, but nowadays it's like he has to deal with like, am I man or machine, and like love and all that crap. But it's like, there's germ warfare or something where it's just like, oh, he's the perfect guy for that kind
What's
of stuff.
great is that that's a really well-written series. They make it work because they're not just zombies that are like the regular Romero type.
Right.
They have their marbles.
Right.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and they kind of still behave sort of like their superhero.
They don't want to
counterparts.
eat you. They have
but
to
they have
eat
to.
you.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me just pitch one last thing. And this is something I really wish they would make. It's called Truth, Red and White and Black. Do you know what that about?
The Black Captain America, right?
So amazing.
Yeah, that's a
the
great one.
concept even. Like,
Yeah.
just the Tuskegee experiments were actually to try to redo
Yes.
Yeah, the super serum.
The super serum, yeah.
But yeah, it's also this dark look at like America where like they kill
Yeah.
300 men and like only 5 make it kind of thing.
Right.
And, but I
No,
would
that's a
make-
great book.
But I would make it about the Patriot now, like a young African American kid, like in lieu of like Miles Morales, and he's got the powers, but you learn like flashbacks as to
I would love to see that.
because it's really a dark look at America, but it's a brighter look. Also, it's like you're like, oh man, Tuskegee was like so horrible in real life. But if they're making like superheroes, maybe like it's not like it's something good came out of it, a superhero.
It would be
like-
nice if the people who are making the Marvel movies now decided to do an offshoot of like their own cinematic Marvel Max, where it's
Yeah.
all darker stuff, a little more
they might.
adult, a little
Yeah.
more violent. I know they try to do that with the Netflix shows,
Right.
but that's not enough.
Yeah.
But
Go further.
Give me the Patriot. Make it fun. A young kid who's like Captain America.
Don't cry.
I'm joking. I love him so much. And then like just tell me the story of that. Where his power. It's so like it's tragic and it's great at the same time.
Done.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Speaking of superpowers, what are your superpowers doing with your career?
They're getting angry.
You wouldn't like his career when he's angry.
I don't like my career when I'm angry. Right now, I'm developing something with Disney.
Nice.
They're a company in Burbank.
Don't they have like a carnival or a fair that they do?
Something I don't know.
Okay.
There's a Ferris wheel.
All right.
And so like I'm hoping that turns out good.
Sweet.
Yeah. We'll see.
Nice.
I'm sure it'll get to a point where it's gonna be amazing, and then I'll ruin it. I've got like a big
No,
plans.
that's my career.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at this show.
You know what this meeting needs is a drunk Fred Belford. You're the president? Ah, yeah, okay, good to meet you, dickhole. What?
Time to drink my pitch juice.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for being with us because
Yeah.
your knowledge of superheroes is
Yeah,
just
you're
We learned
hardcore.
so much.
mind-boggling,
Yes.
and you've actually brought up many that I was not aware of. That
Yeah, yeah.
Me neither.
I've been writing down this list, and I'm going to have to check some of this stuff out. And I hope some big executives listen to this show and say, "Hey,
I like your stuff.
that's right."
I like the cut of your jib.
I can't wait to get a name on this and never give you credit.
So,
I'm
Fred,
going to bypass you and go directly to the source.
so I want to thank you for coming and being with us, and I want to give a super toast
Hey.
to Fred Belford. Thanks,
Fred Belford.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Always a pleasure.
Time for listener shout out. Guys, we have 3.
Wait, whoa. Hang on. Can you? We want you to have a clear. Let's just let the singing go away because it's going to go away any second now.
Is that copyright? We have not 1, not 2, but 3 new iTunes reviews. guys.
All right. Come on.
The first one comes from Tom from G-Fest.
Tom from
Oh my
G-Fest.
God.
Ew.
The hosts bring uproarious humor, intense passion, and
Uproarious.
serious knowledge to the topic of monster-themed entertainments.
But it doesn't get good until I hear, ooh, ah.
Can we let James read the review without interruptions?
Learn about obscure movies, television, collectibles, books, art, and music, though they do need to do an episode focused on monster music.
Okay.
I agree.
Fair enough.
I agree.
Tom, that is yet to come. We
I like
we
that
are
idea.
planning that.
Now, we've been talking about it for a
Yes.
while.
But and what does that mean though?
Well, it means we need to do an episode on monsters.
Well, what is that? Is that
Soundtracks?
soundtracks? Is it novelty
like
songs?
Purple People Eater?
Yeah, thank you. Or is it horror rock songs?
Yeah, it
like
could be a lot of things.
half the
Or-
songs
or-
written by the damned.
Or Matt, it could be all those things.
That I
in
like.
one
See
episode.
that I like.
Cool.
He goes on to say they cover all of that and still do excellent interviews. Highlights for me are William Stout, Shag, David J. Scow, Jackie Cation, and Tom Holland.
Oh, wow. He
taste.
knows his monster part.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Here's another one from Philip Guzman.
All right.
Philip!
Ear candy for monster kids. This is one of my all-time favorite podcasts about anything. I'm a huge horror nerd, true. But even if I wasn't, I would listen to Matt, Sean, James, and yes, even Larry. Because there's...
Someone remembered our
Did
names.
he really say it like that?
Yes, because they're so clearly passionate about all things monster, and it's seriously infectious. If you're even remotely interested in horror movies, monsters, or toys, absolutely do yourself a favor and join the party.
Yeah.
Ah, well said.
Way to go,
Well
Philip.
said, sir.
Thank you, Philip.
Your check is in the mail.
Philip, otherwise known as Sean's mom.
And finally, from Jim Jenkins,
All right, Jim.
Jim.
love it. By far, my favorite movie podcast. Each of the 4 hosts plays an important part. I think any one of them missing for any length of time would be damaging. But what really sets this podcast apart are your guests, people in the know with something to contribute. I never have a question in my mind that one of you fails to ask. I have my cap and shirt and look forward to each show. Party on, guys.
All right. Nice one, Jim.
Great.
Thank you.
Jim.
Thank you, buddy.
It's awesome.
And thanks to Jim for ordering or pre-ordering the Scream Factory Blu-ray of Vengeance of She because it has
All right.
Monster Party comments.
That's right. It was on Twitter, right? He showed
Yes.
he had it in his hand.
Yes. Well, also Kai Esquire, who also pre-ordered it, who I think I know who that listener really is, and also Mark Rem, who also ordered it. And
Nice.
They're flying off the shelves.
Oh, my God.
And thank you to all of our other listeners who might have ordered or pre-ordered it. Yes, we did our first Blu-ray commentary
That's
for
right.
Hammer's Vengeance of She, just out now on Scream Factory.
Cool.
A smashing success.
And I will say, if you're not a big fan of the movie, I think listening to our commentary will make you enjoy it that much more.
I think so. I really do. I really do.
this is the movie that keeps on giving.
Also want to thank all the listeners who chimed in after our last episode of Who Would Win, our latest installment. A lot of listeners had ideas of their own, and we will save those and try to incorporate them on our next
In the next one,
installment.
yes. Right. Yeah.
'Cause we had a lot of fun ones come in. So
Great
you.
ideas.
Thank you for that. And speaking of the cap and shirt, you can find Monster Party merch on our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store. Easy to remember. Let's also remind our listeners we will be at Monsterpalooza in Pasadena coming up April 12th, 13th, and 14th. Cool. We'll have our own booth, so buy your plane tickets now and come and visit us. We'd love to meet you in person.
Monsterpalooza. Good.
Hey guys, I want to remind you that our Monster Party unpaid intern, Kevin Smith, we all know Kevin Smith,
Kevin.
Yes.
and his
Kevin.
lovely partner, Michelle Olivier, they created Sea Demon Vinyl. That's sea like the ocean, S-E-A.
Two
Sea-
great kids.
Yes, Sea Demon Vinyl, that they created these amazing vinyl toys.
Really,
Yeah,
really
very
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Check them out on Facebook. You could see what they've created, what they have for sale, what's coming up in the future. But
True works of art.
check
Yep.
out Sea Demon Vinyl Toys and prepare to be amazed. But I want to give a special thanks to Creature Feature.
Creature features.
I mean, Creature Features, they are still selling a ton of stuff on eBay. Just go to creaturefeatures.com, and there's a box down there that you could click it, and it'll take you directly to their eBay store. It shows all kinds of CDs, DVDs, books, signed CDs, and all kinds of stuff for sale. So go to creaturefeatures.com. It'll also give you information for any events that they may be having around the country. So check it out.
Please.
And I also want to give a special shout out to Time Tunnel Toys. Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in San Jose, California. And Joe and Sharon, as we know, they have a spectacular store filled with all kinds of vintage toys and records, comic books.
Oh,
Yes.
like what we were talking about.
Exactly, but also Star Wars figures and black velvet paintings. They've got all kinds of stuff at their store. You just got to go to their website, Time Tunnel Toys, check it out, and also it'll give you information about their San Jose Super Toy Comic and Collectible Show.
Oh,
They have
my me.
They have it every 4 months. It's a convention center that is filled with over 200 tables with people selling all kinds of vintage toys. And they also have celebrities there. So go to Time Tunnel Toys, check out their website, and it'll give you all the information.
And they'll also have a booth at Monsterpalooza as well.
Yes, they will.
Cool. I'm gonna
that's
buy
right,
something.
That's right. Joe and Sharon, they're bringing a whole bunch of monstrous things to Pasadena. So, yeah, they're going to be at Monsterpalooza. So you got to come in. Check it out.
Everyone who's anyone will be there.
That's right.
And as we all know, we're all big fans of The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I've heard that.
Yep.
Now, if you're in the LA area around Saturday, March 23rd, the hosts of Monster Party podcast,
That's us.
that's right.
Is it? Oh, yes.
We are going to be hosting Creature Fest.
Oh,
At-
my God.
That's right, at the West Valley Regional Branch Library in the Reseda area, here in the LA area. That's at 19036 Van Owen Street in Reseda, California. And we're going to be showing all 3 movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and Sean's favorite, The Creature Walks Among Us. But not
like
only
that
are we going to be showing all 3 films, we're going to be talking in between these films.
Right.
Talking some trivia. We're also going to be bringing some creature artifacts and toys. to see. So,
All creature.
What
Yeah.
time does that start?
it starts at 11 a.m.
11
on
a.m.
Saturday, March 23rd.
Fun.
So,
Let's get some coffee.
2019.
if you want to party hard at 11 a.m. at a library,
Well, think about no. It's look. If you want to see all 3 movies in one place,
Yeah.
hang out with the
Fantastic.
Monster Party guys.
Yeah,
and
we'll get
rub-
lunch.
Yeah, rub elbows and look at some of our creature
Some
toys.
bagels.
yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
I mean, come
we'll
on.
help you feed the meter
And if you're wearing a Monster Party cap or T-shirt, you will get a special
thing.
greeting from us.
That's right. That's right. Maybe a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selfie.
We got to have something in
Yeah.
the car for you.
So again, that's Saturday, March 23rd in Reseda, Creature Fest with the Monster Party Podcast Gang.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I am Larry Stroth.
And I am James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Pitch your own dream superhero movie.
Rally ho! Is it because you don't know how to use a hammer and nails?
Well, I wasn't very handy back then. No.
Right.
I'm still not very handy when it comes to that stuff. But
Not with that
I don't
ass.
have
Just with the ladies.
I didn't have any friends either who really had tree houses. We just had, I don't know, we just played in different areas, but we never.
You used your imagination
Yeah.
and set
Sure.
things on fire
Exactly.
and blew things up.
I lived in an area where there was like a trail and a mountain, like with trees and stuff, and we tried to build one once. And it was like me and like a bunch of 10-year-olds, and we did it. Like it was rough. Like people
Yeah.
fell out, one kid broke his leg, but we did it.
Yeah.
And we were so happy. And then we went back the next day, teenagers. Just spray and just sitting there drinking like through their bottles, like get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yep.
the end of that.
I've had that happen too. Damn teenage. Why are they so
teenagers.
mean and nasty? And it's almost like we're the creative ones. We came up with the idea. We had the foresight to build a fort or something.
and then they just take
and
it
then
over.
some of these teenage hooligans come and they do and they're smoking cigarettes up there.
Isn't it every industry though? Is somebody's working their ass off and someone's taking the credit though?
Yeah, true.
My brother almost burnt down the entire neighborhood with his tree fort because he made this wonderful 3-story tree fort that had all these cubby rooms and they had a stove. They made a stove with bricks and tinfoil
In a tree.
in a tree. And so they think they've got everything covered. They start a fire and the fire's going and they don't realize that the bricks heat up and heat up the wood, which ultimately bursts into flames.
Nice.
And I think one of his friends tried to piss on it to make the fire go out, but ultimately the whole thing went up in flames and and almost the entire neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. My grandmother lived on a golf course, like on the other side, not in the course. And then, like,
The sand trap.
yeah, the sand trap.
It's nice land.
It's pretty good, yeah, and clean water. And then there was like a chain link fence, and my friend and I bought fireworks, but we weren't supposed to. And like
You
we
weren't
were
supposed to have fireworks.
but we're doing stuff, but then you're alone, and you do stuff like you light them and you throw them in the air just to see what a flower looks like when you throw it in the air.
Yeah.
Right. Or you stick into a little model kit and watch.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, let's do it. Everything.
Or you
you're not
put
supposed
it
to,
in your friend.
Let's see what happens.
He's a flower.
And it's just our last one. We were like, dude, everything like stupid and crazy. And this last one he just throws on like the ground, hits like a rock, ricochet, like goes. You see, it's like ding, 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 ding. It's like 8 things, shoots into the field behind the house, and you just all of a sudden, maybe. Like, oh fuck! So like we got like every hose, like the neighbor's hose, and like shovel just hit in. Like by the end of it, we'd stopped the fire, but it was the entire backyard, like about 30 yards of fire.
God.
And like stupidest thing ever is to like kids, because you like can't call the cops.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, no one will ever know. There's like at least 100 golfers standing there like screaming. You realize and then it's like, and then your grandma comes along and is like, why is everything black? You're like,
That's why you would think that there would be yet even more terrorist situations because, when a kid just gets some matches, the sheer amount of damage that kid can do.
Yeah.
Just on accident.
I think like that happens every day. I think there's probably about 2,000 deaths every day that nobody just talks about it because
Oh, it's just a kid
Kids.
burning up.
That's
Yeah,
kids.
kids.
kids and matches.
Hey, do you have a kid burn up in your town? Yeah. Yeah, us too.
Didn't we all
Kids
have a
in their
kid?
ways.
No, didn't we all
Oh,
have a
scorching
kid?
Timmy.
Didn't we all have a kid burned up or something? Isn't that like in every neighborhood?
I knew a guy who got into his dad's guns and blew off half his face.
Wow. Which half?
The dark half.
Right. Ended up, it didn't go well for this guy in life, too. It happened when he was really young, so they couldn't do anything to help his face because his face was still growing.
Right.
They'd have to wait till he was 18 to do any kind of work. But it really, it scarred him in more ways than one.
And that kid's name was Harvey Dent.
But an amazing law firm.
Word to the wise, folks.
Yeah.
Don't play
shoot your
with
face off.
firearms.
Yeah.
One of my first, when I was a kid, I lived in Stockton, which people died all the time, like of fireworks and stuff like that. And one guy just had he was a drummer at the college, that like the local college. He had like just chin and like a little hole, like no nose, no anything, just like a giant like chin like this. And you'd talk like this, how's it going? And you'd be like, like, hey, how's it going? Like, what the fuck? He apparently they were like doing fire. I was like, was it M80s?
Yeah.
And it was it was just firecrackers. It wasn't even an M80.
I understand. I understand.
They were like
like
cigarettes like that, like, and he just had a short fuse. Kapow! And like to me, ever since that story, you just realize because like when you're a kid, you're like. You would hold firecrackers and see like, oh, like people do stuff like that, and you're like fucking with firecrackers.
Did you ever do that? Did you ever have one blow up in your hand?
No, in a can once.
Yeah.
But it blew that way.
Yeah.
But you know, in hindsight, you're like, oh shit, I could have lost a hand. But that was the first like touch of like mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we don't light them
In our mouth.
In our mouth.
Do need to wear a helmet all the time.
It's weird you said M80. I remember my older brothers, they got one M80. And there's all this talk about how powerful it was. Or
They're
whatnot.
fucking bothered.
Yeah.
So what they did is they put it in the backyard and kind of dug a little hole, and they lit it. And I swear to God, it was the loudest thing. I mean, we backed away almost to the point where we were so far we couldn't see it explode, but would explode. We heard it, and we came out, and it was like it created a crater.
Yes.
And it was smoking, and it was like something from
War of the Worlds or
prehistoric. Yeah,
something.
totally. No. I'm not kidding, and it frightened me because it was so powerful. Such a little, like it was about the size of
Blow
a
off your hand,
cigar or something, and
Or more. Like it's not.
Yeah.
We our M80s we put it next to like same thing, but not far away from the house.
yeah.
And my friend's like side door, we blew like it was just blew like this much away, like a hole
my
in it
God,
this big.
wow.
And you kind of go. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, fuck, wow. Oh.
How are we allowed to have this?
I don't understand.
Yeah, and
Like,
you know what's funny about this?
when
is-
people talk about how great it used to be, it's like,
No, Frank, Here, we're talking about little fireworks and stuff, and I remember when we were kids, and you'd go and you get the little fireworks pack. Your dad would get it, and now here in California, I can't find any of that.
No, you
but
can't get
Matt goes to what was it?
To Arkansas.
Yeah, to Arkansas.
Now, in Arkansas,
Huge.
you can get like military grade.
you're arrested if you don't buy fireworks.
Yeah. They have a stand that's right outside the Walmart, and you go into this place, and they have the kind of fireworks that you would have at Disneyland, like that level,
Yeah.
mortars, and it's like, yeah, you just light them yourself.
But what's funny is they're all named like the Death Bringer, the Widowmaker.
It's either that or it's very patriotic. It's Old Glory,
or the Patriot.
yeah.
Custer's Last Stand.
Desert Storm,
Uncle Sam.
wham bam, Uncle Sam.
Now I know we have some listeners out in Arkansas, and I want to let them know that we're big fans of you, and
No matter how many fingers you have
Don't
left.
get me wrong.
it's interesting. I mean,
Doing this stuff in Arkansas, I had something blow up right next to my ear. I still have tinnitus to this day, and I don't regret 1 second of it. No. It was so much fun blowing this shit up. It was fantastic. To be able to light your own really high grade fireworks, because now I at least know, like, yeah, you have the hose, you're already, you're like, as a kid, like, I don't know what the age limit is, where I don't think a 9-year-old can walk in there and go, yeah, I'll take the Armageddon pack, but
I got to see some ID.
there it is, psychic paper.
Here's a badge. Oh yeah, this seems legit.
Yeah, did you buy this at Walmart? Oh, that's fine with me.
Who might argue the Walmart?
Now, Fred, you remember how we play this, right? So what we do is
Last man standing.
We're going to introduce. We're going to start the show. Matt does his little creepy voice.
Then I spin the bottle.
No, there's no.
And then romance.
No, there's no tongue there. Anyway, we introduce ourselves.
Speak for yourself.
Introduce ourselves. Name of the topic, and then after that, we're going to introduce you, and then we're going to go to town. All right. Then we
I
get.
thought you said no tongue.
No tongue. And then just as a reminder,
Just hard lips.
that's right. All right. And then at the end, if there's anything you want to plug, and I know you're working on a bunch of things, so you just say I'm like all over the place, like a cheap suit or something, whatever.
He's writing copy for you as we speak.
I am all over the place. Let's just say you were to purchase a cheap suit off the rack.
Get into character.
Okay. And as we all know, we had that art. Fuck.
But you're not wrong.
Did he say and Larry? And Larry, Matt, Sean,
And even Larry.
even Larry, and even Larry. The one thing I want to say is, aren't you guys happy that this isn't like a pro Larry thing? It's a and Larry kind of a thing. So that he was like, we're putting you guys up on a pedestal.
Don't patronize me.
Okay. And if you go to their website, it'll give you information about their super toy comic and collectible show that they have every 4 months. So go to their website. It'll give you all the information. And I just want to point out that they, too, Time Tunnel Toys, will be at Monsterpalooza as well.
Oh,
They're gonna
nice.
bring a bunch of stuff from Northern California down here to Pasadena.
I'm sorry. My cat's sneezing. You might want to start the Time Tunnel
I'll do
Toys
Time
part.
Tunnel Toys.
Hold on.
I
one
thought it was. I thought it was.
Oh, is he
scraping.
sneezing?
No,
Oh.
he sneezes. He's a little snuffly.
Oh, Frankie.
He's all right.
As long as he doesn't do that.
That's what our cat does.
All right. Keep him very strong.
Oh! Can I say one thing? Oh. No. It's like when you finish, we should say rally ho. That was his thing. Remember? No.
Oh, I like Rally Ho.
That was his thing at the beginning. I thought
Yeah.
that.
How do we? No, that's good. I like that. I like that. I like that. It's funny.
It was like 2 days ago. It was so
Really?
long ago.
Well,
No, I like that.
I wrote it down.
I like that. I like that.
You're gonna say.
So keep him very strong.
Think of your own dream.
Yeah.
Dream up your own superhero film.
And it's called
Movie.
Dream Superhero Movies.
Dream up your own superhero film.
Rally ho. Yeah.
And rally ho. We should all do it.
Rally ho, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny. I like that.
And we're calling it Dream Superhero Movies.
Dream superhero
Okay,
movies.
just so I know when I post. Okay, cool. All right, go.
We've got to tell him what.
Here we go.
4 times now.
No, because
He was in the show.
I know, but it's like what you're saying is dream up
sometimes I
your
forget.
own superhero.
Yeah,
I mean,
like there's
a
the-
film, and you're not saying
The
movie.
super dreaming of the heroes. Okay.
Dream up your own superhero film,
movie.
No, for the ending.
or
I think-
come up with your own dream superhero film. Is that what you want?
I think he. But
Do you like
should
that
say-
better?
No, I like we said before.
But you. But
Dream up your own.
But you keep
Oh no,
saying-
you're right. You're not creating your own superhero movies.
No. Dream up. I think I have no problem with dream up your own superhero movie.
Movie.
Because you're saying film.
Dream up your. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say movie.
yeah.
Just stay.
I'll say
stay
movie.
Consistent with Sean.
Dream up your own dream superhero movie.
Oh, no,
Dream
no.
on.
No. It's just dream on. Dream.
Now I want to change it.
Rally ho.
And then rally ho.
I like the rally
Okay,
ho.
we all sing it
I like
together?
rally
Yes.
ho. Yes.
We're saying it together.
So we go like
rally ho.
Yeah,
do it your best.
make
Paul.
it. Let's make it as difficult as possible. Like I like even his cue. Even his cue was like, when I do this, when I run from one end of the room to the other, that's when you start.
Because that's weird. Does that mean you start when you're point down?
No one,
Is that-
right?
it's
Just
supposed
to
be-
confuse
I mean,
us.
because Sean, I would do this. You know, it's like. I mean, you don't do directing much, do you? Because you produce.
When Sean goes, when Sean goes from a seed to a tree, that's when you say it.
We're never gonna. We'll be
never
all
gonna
off.
do this.
No.
Okay,
It's
go.
a simple beat.
No, what is it? So whatever.
Movie.
Dream.
Superhero movie.
Pitch your own.
Picture.
you go.
Because that's,
Pitch your own dream superhero movie.
Yes.
There you go.
On that. Sorry.
Wow. Someone remembers our names, and already you're taking over the show.
No.
Wait, should we do parody our names like Sean multi-alien? We don't have to.
No.
but like,
Not on
okay.
this one.
Okay.
Not on this
It'd
one.
be funny though, superhero names like Ultra Weinhold, or
Well-
no, but that's too long to think of it.
It is. It
Forget.
is.
It's too much work.
Because I think the rally ho is
yeah, that's
punchline.
good. Yeah.
Let's not mess with it. Okay.
We're tipping it.
Sean-
See, you don't want to tip it.
Sean Fluidman Sheridan.
But that's your real name.
No, I know. Okay, go.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold. What are you laughing at?
Go.
He's got the giggles.
Did you want to
It's
say fluid?
adorable.
No, I
It's
don't.
adorable.
Go.
Now, we could do it this way, and you could follow my lead if you want, which I think you probably would.
Okay.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I am Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Can we do it again?
Yes.
Thank you.
No.
I just want to be a little more articulate.
That was very articulate.
Thank you. But
I've got my superhero.
But we got
voice.
it now. See, we got it. Okay.
Are you- Is it got your superhero voice?
I'm trying to do Ted Knight,
That's not bad.
the Super Friends.
Okay, and what?
I don't. It changed.
And you're
I am Sean Sheridan.
okay.
All right, ready?